You are the father.
Thank you. Thank you.
Had to know. That's my right.
Do you think every father in paternity court actually wants to be a father? Oh, hell no. Sometimes, they deny their kids so they can go on to remain single and mess around with other women. These are some of those situations. Mr. Milton is in the courtroom today because he has filed a paternity entrapment suit against the defendant, Ms. Lewis. He claims that Ms. Lewis is out to pin the baby on him because she has had a childhood crush on him, and she just can't seem to get over him. Could he be telling the truth? Let's see. The case begins like this.
Mr. Milton, you claim that she is out to pin a baby on you because she's had a childhood crush on you. Contend that you are 100% certain that Mr. Milton is your daughter Desire's biological father.
Oh, come on. He did not just say that. Mr. Milton tells the judge that Ms. Lewis has been trying to be with him since they were kids. I very much doubt that. Ms. Lewis, on the other hand, says that the only reason he is denying the baby is because of his meddling girlfriend. She claims that she doesn't want him taking care of another woman's child.
All that. So, like I say, I feel like she had a...
Pursuing you.
Yeah.
And that was part of her plot.
As soon as she got the opportunity, she got it.
Excuse me, ma'am. This is what really happened. His grandmother and my cousin came. She introduced us. I started talking to David. And when I started talking to David...
She never left me alone.
Clearly, these two fit each other with all that yelling they are doing. Ms. Lewis says they met when he came over to her grandmother's house. She also tries to explain that she is not obsessed with Mr. Milton, and she just wants her child to know its father. But of course, Mr. Milton insists that she is trying to pin the baby on him.
Because if I could plot it, it wouldn't be you. Believe that. It wouldn't be you.
Hello.
It would not be you.
Hello.
It wasted 4 years.
Both of you are testifying to is that this was never even a boyfriend and girlfriend
No.
relationship.
No.
This was just a friendship and you knew each other through your family.
I mean, the judge isn't wrong. The story she's telling sounds like she actually did plot to have a baby with Mr. Milton. She explains that the woman she was dating at the time wanted her to have another baby. And at the time, Mr. Milton was the only available man to make that possible. I wonder what other truth bomb is going to drop in the courtroom.
And it was sex one time or how many times? It was just
That
this
first
one
time,
day?
First time it was one time. Then after the baby was born, of course, we was getting a little more familiar, you know what I'm saying? Time, but that's after the baby
But
born,
that I'm just concerned with the conception. Thank you for the
Just
extra
one time.
info.
Thank you.
But just the conception, this one night that
Aha! I just knew something out of the ordinary was going to happen. Mr. Milton says that Ms. Lewis told him she was pregnant the night of the day they kicked it in bed. Ms. Lewis then says that he is lying, and she waited 2 weeks before she broke the news to him. Even 2 weeks sounds a little shady.
So 2 weeks
Yes.
after
Yes.
you have sex, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Find out Ms. Lewis was pregnant.
Came over to my mother's house, sonogram. My
Mother's house.
Yes.
2 weeks after you had
Yes.
sex with her?
That's just hilarious. Mr. Milton explains to the judge that he found out about the baby when Ms. Lewis brought an ultrasound scan to his mother's house. He even says that Ms. Lewis told him that the baby looked like him even without a face. I'm sorry, but that is just the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Called my mother and said she married an African dude and she was having sex with him.
Ma'am.
How am I supposed to feel?
Wait. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Are you married to another man?
I was married.
You were married to another man?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so were you having sex with that man as well?
No,
If you're
Your
married to
Honor.
him?
No.
Oh, wow. Well, I wasn't expecting to hear that. Mr. Milton says that his doubts kicked in when Ms. Lewis's girlfriend called his mother and told her that Ms. Lewis was in fact married to another man. Ms. Lewis does admit that she was indeed married to another man, but she was not sleeping with him. And the only reason her girlfriend did what she did was because she was mad at her.
Tell the little girl.
Tell the little girl?
Yeah,
tell her
what type
that.
of person are
I
you?
did
Yes,
not
you did.
tell
You
her
sit right
that.
there and tell
Well,
her.
it's bad enough.
that.
It's bad enough. You shouldn't be calling a child.
I have proof,
Right.
ma'am.
You know what I mean? You know how you mad and two people bickering? Like I said.
But that's not about that. You don't call a message from Mr. Milton. You had what?
That is just horrible coming from Mr. Milton. How on earth do you call your child ugly? What's worse is that Mr. Milton is not in the kid's life at all. He hasn't seen the child in more than 2 years. Phew. You can really tell that he doesn't want anything to do with the child.
And that's what it was. Never.
Close,
who I'm
man.
married
Come
to.
over here.
I didn't have no kids.
Hold on. I do have to say, I mean, in terms of Mr. Milton's doubt, if your partner called his family, says, now you know she has a husband, I mean, it is reasonable to assume.
There's no lie in that. Ms. Lewis does admit that she was married, but claims that he was Jizzy a friend, and she said yes to him because she was young and dumb. But all that doesn't erase the fact that any normal person would think her husband is the father, especially if she told Mr. Milton that she was pregnant just 2 weeks after they slept together.
Biological daughter.
No, I do not.
And what do you know about this situation that would lead you to believe this?
I really just think she don't know either, because every time she comes around, she never brings the child, she brings herself.
Audience, friends, and stuff like. It's never about kids. It's never.
It
about
is
the
about
kid.
my daughter.
It's
My
never
daughter-
about the.
I guess we now know another reason why he doubts he is the father of the child. Oh well, the DNA results never tell lies. Let's see who the real father of the child is. The results are in, and this is the judge's verdict.
Mr. Milton, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Had to
you.
know. I had to
Thank
know.
you.
It's
God,
my right.
God,
It's my
I
right.
told you.
You planted
All
the
right.
seed.
Ms. Wolf is in court today because she claims that the revenge sex that she had has put her relationship with the defendant, Mr. Coffey, in jeopardy. She says that the only way to save her relationship is if the results reveal that the father of her child is Mr. Cottle. I wonder how she ended up having revenge sex. Anyway, this is how the case begins.
Wolf, you're in court claiming revenge way to save the family you were hoping to build is to prove to your fiance that he fathered your 3-month-old son, Zane. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cottle, you say you're not a doctor, but when a woman is having sex with more than one man at the same time, the odds are against you.
Well, we can all agree that a lot is tied to the results of this case. Mr. Cottle says that if a woman is having sex with more than one man, things never really go well, and his girlfriend, sadly, slept with him and another man at the same time.
Revenge sex means that my ex-boyfriend, Lucas, he cheated on me with one of my friends. So I was talking to his friend, which was Andrew, and Andrew was like telling me that, we should, and we did. So while I was still dating Lucas at the time, I was sleeping with Drew also.
And now you all are in a relationship.
Ouch! That had to have been one serious blow to Mr. Cottle. Ms. Wolf explains that her boyfriend, Mr. Chittum, cheated on her with one of her friends, and the only way to pay him back was to sleep with his best friend while they were still in a relationship. Phew, that's one messy thing to do, trust me. Like Mr. Cottle said, it never ends the way you'd want it to.
Mr. Cottle's friend.
And I moved in with him about a week after meeting him. And 2 weeks in our relationship, I invited my friend to come hang out with me. And while I was sleeping, I woke up and I went to the bedroom door and the door was locked. And I saw my friend's underwear on the floor. So right then and there, I knew that they had sex.
Yes, it is, Judge Lauren. Yes, it is. It's just one huge mess these guys have found themselves in. Seems like her boyfriend, Mr. Chittum, was actually not a saint. He did in fact cheat, and that resulted in Ms. Wolf doing the exact same thing to him. Except this time, she slept with Mr. Chittum's best friend.
And you started a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you all were living together?
That is correct.
And you and the friend slept together?
That is correct.
So now how do you find out that Miss Wolf was then intimate with your friend, Mr. Cottle?
Texted me.
So then did you confront Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
What did she say?
She was pretty much denying it all.
Phew. It just keeps going from bad to worse with these guys. Mr. Chittum, the boyfriend, finally walks into the courtroom and he does admit that she slept with her friend. He then says that he found out that she had slept with Mr. Cottle through one of his friends, and when he confronted her, she denied it.
Now, this is you, Ms. Wolf, kissing Mr. Chittum. And on the bottom of that, see, you were a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then we uncovered this photo. This is you and Mr. Cottle, but a different team, because this one says Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, I like both teams, ma'am.
Oh, I like both teams.
Looks like she does in fact like both teams. The court found some photos on Facebook that showed Ms. Wolf kissing both men in the exact same way, but in 2 different cities. Ms. Wolf then goes on to admit that there was a time when she did in fact like both men, but ended up getting into a serious relationship with Mr. Chittum.
Your sexual relationship with Ms. Wolf pregnant?
No, Your Honor.
So you continued to have sex with her?
Yes, Your Honor. 3 weeks before Zane was born.
That's not true, Your Honor.
A pathological liar. He likes to lie about everything.
Mr. Chittum, is this why you agreed to submit to a polygraph test to prove that you telling the truth?
Wow, wow, wow. That is actually very crazy. Mr. Chittum says that he continued to sleep with Ms. Wolf even when he found out she was pregnant. The shocking thing is that they stopped having sex 3 weeks before the child was born. To prove that he wasn't lying, he took a polygraph test. Well, let's see the results of the test.
And you were asked the following question. Did you have sexual intercourse with Sarah, Ms. Wolf, during her pregnancy with Zane? You said yes. The lie detector determined you were being truthful.
Yes, that is truthful. And you knew that. And I never lied about that.
I guess we now have the answer we are looking for, and the results from the polygraph test confirm it. They stopped having sex just 3 weeks before the child was born. In her defense, Ms. Wolf says that she stopped having sex with Mr. Chittum when she got into a relationship with Mr. Cottle.
Are you saying that?
The messages still.
Is this true?
No, it's not.
You have the messages.
I do have messages.
I'd like to see that proof.
And so you're saying you were intimate with Ms. Wolf.
Yes, Your Honor.
You would go over there and Mr. Cottle would be working?
Yes. I'd say at least about once a week.
If this were not a courtroom, I'm pretty sure Mr. Cottle would have lost his mind right now. Mr. Chittum drops another truth bomb and tells the judge that he would go over to Mr. Cottle's house and sleep with Ms. Wolf while he was at work. He even says that he has messages to back up what he is saying.
Are you joking me? He does nothing for you? God, he got me so angry. And then the next line is, come blank me. You were loyal. Then it reads, I know, but
Just because I say something on a text message or paper, unless it actually happened, I didn't do anything with you, and you know that.
Haha, you can see it all over her face. Ms. Wolf is lying through her teeth. Judge Lauren finally gets a hold of Mr. Chittum's phone, and as you can see, he actually did have proof to back up his claim. Phew. I wonder what other shocking thing we are going to hear from his mouth.
let me see that, Jerome. And so this conception calculator indicate you were ovulating between the 22nd and the 27th? Oh, you tracked it and you planned?
Yeah, at the time I loved Lucas, and I knew he couldn't have kids, and I wanted us to have a family. So I decided to sleep with Andrew. I know it sounds messy, but regardless,
Revenge level 10?
yes.
Okay, I mean, it's like,
You know what? I think we've heard just about enough. Ms. Wolf is one hell of a woman for trying to play two men and thinking she could get away with it. The results are in. Let's see who gets to play the daddy role between both men.
Zane Cottle. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Cottle. You are the biological father.
I'm gonna try and see between me and her, but it's not completely promised.
Ms. Marsh and her mother have demanded that the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court because they say that he is denying her daughter only when she denies his desire to have a relationship with her. It's unclear if they have any relationship, but this is how the case begins.
Ms. Marsh demanded the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court today because you say he denies when you deny his desire to have a relationship. Mr. Reed, you claim biological father and you believe she's trying to trap her. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Marsh, are you using baby Tamari to trap Mr. Reed?
Okay, looks like she has made things clear to Mr. Reed, but he just does not want to take no for an answer. Mr. Reed, however, says that Ms. Marsh has admitted to him that he is not the father, so he has no idea why she is saying that he is.
Distance relationship online.
Yes, Your Honor.
So at what point does this relationship turn into physical relationship?
When I relocated to Columbus,
Torrin wrote me on Facebook telling me that he was coming for me, like coming to be in a relationship with me.
Ugh! Can they all just take a chill pill? Talking over each other is not going to help the situation. Ms. Marsh and her mother tell the judge that Mr. Reed slept over $1,000 on her old child, but refused to spend a dime on the child that she believes belongs to him. That's just weird.
Tell him, and he said, this my wife.
What?
I'm a Muslim, so I was planning on having 4 wives, and she
He's a
noticed.
fake Muslim. He's a wannabe Muslim.
Let me understand this. Ms. Marsh, man you've been dating,
Is a
relocated to your town.
We have a timeshare in
It doesn't
Missouri.
matter what it is.
And so you get to Missouri, and he says, let me introduce you to my wife?
Now it makes sense when Ms. Marsh says that she can never be in a relationship with Mr. Reed. Ms. Marsh says that she thought she was in a relationship with Mr. Reed. When he came to her city and they went to hang out, he introduced her to 2 of his wives. The crazy thing is that he never told her that he was married before.
How far into this relationship did this happen?
He was down there for a month.
And then this happened?
Yeah.
In your mind, was this your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Your
He been
Honor,
talking
no.
about being
Your
with each
Honor,
other.
no, because I was down there 2 weeks before I even seen her.
He telling me he
It's your testimony you informed her of
Yes,
your
it is.
desire.
Yes, it is.
This is the first time I'll hear something like this. Him wanting to marry 4 wives is just crazy. He says that Ms. Marsh always knew that he had the desire to marry 4 wives, and he has no idea why she's denying it. He even goes on to say that his mother also told her that he wanted to marry 4 wives. Wow.
Was your daughter's boyfriend at
Yes.
that time?
Yes. I didn't see the other side of him until she announced that she was pregnant. He came on to be a very nice, strong person.
And Miss Marsh, your tears
And then
right
when-
now, what are you feeling?
Like, I've been knowing him since I was 18 and it's really hurt.
Ms. Marsh is really hurt, and you honestly can't blame her for feeling that way. She says that she has been with Mr. Reed since she was 18, and it's heartbreaking to find out that he is going around different states and making babies with other women.
Then we went to the pregnancy center. We got an ultrasound. And then later on, he had left to go console a girl in California that was having a miscarriage.
You knew this?
I
Yes.
knew afterwards.
She knew the young lady was down there in Columbus, Ohio, when I was down.
Actually, no, I didn't know. Pulling me, you telling me what I want to hear.
He is 40 years old? Wow. Man is old enough to give birth to Ms. Marsh. My goodness. Mr. Reed should really be ashamed of himself for tricking a lady way younger than he is into wanting to marry him. I can't even believe he is mad at the fact that she doesn't want to be with him.
Me and the guy, we had broke up 2 months prior to him coming down there. I broke up with him for torrent. I've been wanting to be with him since I was 18.
But she steady texting them and called them, and they
I was
steady
steady
got drama.
texting and was texting and calling him. We met him at the BMV, and that was the last time you heard of him.
But wait, what I don't understand is the baby's just a year old.
Well, that makes more sense. I was scared for a second. Mr. Reed explains to the judge that they started trying to be in a relationship about 7 years after they had known each other. He claims that he doubts he is the father of the child because he saw Ms. Marsh texting and calling another guy.
Oh wait, Miss Marsh, what would you like to add?
Who pay your bill?
Every time a bill due, he would leave.
I'm a witness.
Like,
to
I'll
this.
be like, oh my God.
One at a time. So at the point you inform him you are pregnant, what happened for Tamari's birth?
He got back with the girl that was in Missouri, stalking my Facebook. She screenshotted him a picture of Tamari, and he wrote me.
Phew, I can't belong Ms. Marsh put up with all of this. She tells the judge that even when they were together, he didn't take care of her daughter. Anytime a bill came up for her daughter, Mr. Reed would fly out and go to be with his other women, leaving her to take care of the baby alone.
Wrote
I
me
don't know
that
for
same
sure.
day.
So what is your doubt exactly? Because you have not
Because
testified.
you're not the father. This other
And I don't
gentleman is
blame
the
him.
father that she was sleeping with. That's my doubt.
Ms. Marsh, when you're angry with him, do you tell him this is not his baby?
Trying to do something.
But that's yes.
Of course.
That is yes.
And it only happened once
Yes.
that I told him
3
that.
times.
It
You
never
just told me
happened.
this.
That explains why he has doubts about being the father. He says that anytime she is angry, she tells him that he is not the father of her child. That is something you don't say to a man who already doubts he is the father. Oh well, the results are in. Let's see if he is the father.
In the case of Marsh versus Reed, when it comes to 1-year-old Tamari Marsh, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Mr. McRae says that the defendant led him to believe that he was the father of her child until she abruptly changed her tune and told him that he was no longer the father. He is in court today to prove that he is the father and has always been since the day she came into the world. Well, this is how the case begins.
Mr. McRae, you claim the defendant led you to believe you daughter Demiracle for 10 months until she abruptly changed her tune, are not the dad. You are here to prove, Ms. Moore, you say you are positive the plaintiff is not your daughter's biological father. Mr. Moore is, and you to prove it today. Is that correct?
Man, that is so sad. Mr. McRae tells the judge that he has not seen his daughter in over a year, and she's the only person he thinks about. Ms. Moore says that she knows he is not the father, and that her husband happens to be the actual father.
You all in a relationship when you got pregnant?
So we had broke up when I got pregnant.
Your Honor, I beg to differ. I was at every doctor's appointment except for one.
Your Honor, that's
The
a
hospital.
lie. No, pregnant. I told him I did not want him at the hospital or nothing. I told him I don't have nothing to do with him. I was been telling him like I worked late on purpose so I wouldn't be home with him.
Looks like 2 stories are in play here. Ms. Moore tells the judge that Mr. McRae made it to only 1 doctor's appointment, and she explicitly told him that she didn't want him there. Mr. McRae, on the other hand, says that he was at all the appointments except 1, and he only missed that because he had to go to work.
Mr. McRae, did you think this was a good relationship?
Like she said, the first 2 years were amazing. We had our ups and downs.
When Ms. Moore told you she was pregnant, what happened? Take me back to that day.
When she was pregnant and she told me she was pregnant, I just looked in shock like, really? Because I was told I was able to have children.
You were told you were not able to have children.
Yeah.
We did not have sex that much.
At At this point, I just have to ask, does Ms. Moore hate Mr. McRae? Seems to me like she does. Mr. McRae explains that while they were in a relationship, they had sex almost every time and without protection. Ms. Moore then says that in their 4 years of being together, they only had sex on 5 to 6 occasions.
I told him not that I did not want him.
Wait a minute, let me see what this is. This is a certificate of birth.
Yes,
Child's name, Miracle Serenity McRae. Father's name, Emmanuel Davis McRae.
That's my name, that's my check.
And so you are the legal father listed on this birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't think I understand what's going on here. Mr. McRae was at the hospital and he signed the birth certificate of the child. Ms. Moore says that she didn't know he signed because she was drugged, and Mr. McRae told her that the only way she would leave the hospital is either in a body bag or if a police officer came to drag him out. Someone's not telling the truth, that's for sure.
So you knew in your mind, you felt like you knew that Mr. McRae was not her biological father.
Right, my husband is the father.
This is interesting because Mr. McRae are believing he's the biological father of a child.
Yes.
You sit there, you wait through the birth. Do you participate in the birth?
Yes, I
No,
cut the
he said
umbilical
it's
cord.
You cut the umbilical cord.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I am not buying that. There's no way Mr. McRae would be at the hospital and cut the cord, and she could blame all of that happening on the fact that she was under the influence of the drugs that the doctors gave to her. She is lying through her teeth, and I think Judge Lauren sees that.
Now, Ms. Moore, at this time, when this picture was taken,
Yeah, I told him he still wasn't leaving. He said he had a bond, but he just wanted to be with me.
so who took this picture?
Not me.
I don't know what it was. Like, it's just crazy how he just could hold a baby that's not him.
Haha, Judge Lauren is not buying that. That picture shows Mr. McRae and the child having an amazing daddy-daughter time. Ms. Moore says that she did not take the picture. Clearly, Mr. McRae didn't take the picture, so who did?
Mr. Moore, do you believe DeMiracle is your daughter?
Of course, Your Honor.
So DeMiracle was conceived. We're aware that she was also in a relationship with Mr. McRae.
Yeah, they was living together. That was their thing.
Beautiful baby. That's what we're trying to figure out. In a relationship with Ms. Moore, we're having sex.
Phew. All I can say is that this is one big mess. Mr. Moore walks into the courtroom and tells the judge that he also believes he is the father of the child. That's enough drama for today. Let's see what the DNA results have in store for us.
McRae versus Moore, pertaining to whether Mr. McRae or Mr. Moore is the father of 2-year-old DeMiracle McRae. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Moore.
In this situation, Mr. Walls claimed to have been away for a while, and when he got back, he saw the defendant, Ms. Walker, having some funny business with another man. He claimed that she was a serial cheater, and he was certain he was not the father of the child. This was how he opened his case.
Mr. Walls, you say that after spending a short time away in her...
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you say Ms. Walker is a serial cheater, and there is no way you are her child.
It looks like the long wait to get her number was worth it after all. In no time, things got very romantic between them. They started spending time together and going on dates.
Going out there, spending time, it was romantic,
Ms. Walker,
Yes.
he seemed like he was a gentleman courting you. You went out with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was a good relationship at first?
It was good in the beginning until I found out I was pregnant. Told him, but he talked about he wanted a DNA test, and I told him we can do a DNA test because he said that he saw me in the car with another guy.
I knew we were about to get to the bad part, but was he really a family member, Ms. Walker? Well, we are going to find out. The funny thing about this couple was that even though they had a very lovely time together, they never got into an actual relationship.
To a real relationship is the point. So you all were having sex without protection, but not in a relationship. So when she told you she was pregnant and it was your child, you had doubt.
Yeah.
When I told him I was pregnant, and he had said a DNA test because he said he didn't trust me.
Because when I was gone for them 30 days, she admitted to cheating.
Did she just admit to cheating? Wow. If I were in his shoes, I would probably have doubts about the baby as well. As if that was not enough, Mr. Walls went on to talk about a situation where he actually caught Ms. Walker in another man's car. This was how he began the story.
I goes all the way back around the corner, come back, slow down. Yeah, I'm on my 3rd lap now. I'm doing a Hollywood stop now like, yeah, that's her. That's her in the car. Then I confronted her about that. I said, you supposed to be pregnant with my baby, and you sitting in the car with this other guy.
And what did she say?
She said, whatever I do is my business. I said, and it looked like you was leaning over kissing the guy.
Aha! You've been caught, Ms. Walker. If indeed she was pregnant and the baby belonged to Mr. Wills, she had no right to do anything with another guy. Moving on, Mr. Wills was not done listening to the scenarios he witnessed, which made him doubt the baby.
I call her phone. She'll say she at home. I go to her house, knock on the door. Now here, Dominique went over her god sister's house. I just talked to Dominique. She said she was home.
No,
Couple
you
of
aren't.
times.
No,
Oh,
no,
my
you
gosh,
aren't.
I wish your
No,
mama-
the time he said he was living with his baby mama. He was telling
She
me
was
that
staying
he
with me.
was
It's a
he gonna
difference. It was
promise
my
to
house.
leave her so he can be with me and my child.
That explains why they couldn't get into a proper relationship. They can't even make a complete sentence without yelling at each other. Again, Mr. Wills went on to explain that with his other 5 kids, he had pregnancy symptoms, but with Ms. Walker's child, he never felt any such symptoms.
A little bit. I'm feeling a little nauseous. And with her pregnancy, I had none of that.
How many other kids do you have?
I got 5 other kids.
Okay. You had pregnancy symptoms with all 5?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, it looks like he wasn't lying after all. The funny feeling is actually a real thing. Could that mean the baby does not belong to him? Well, the DNA results are about to reveal just that, and we will know if Ms. Walker has been lying all this while.
Case of Wall versus Walker. When it comes to 3-year-old Adriana Walker, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Wall, you are not her father. Mr. Black, you say you're here today to finally prove that you are not the biological father of 4-month-old.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say when the results reveal you are not the father, you no longer want the child to have your last name.
Yes, Your Honor.
From lovers to enemies, Mr. Black wants to relinquish all fatherly roles, including the removal of his last name from Ms. Rockmore's 4-month-old son. Ms. Rockmore, on the other hand, is disgusted by the constant abdication by Mr. Black. Mr. Black's mother is even present in court, but which side will she be on? What prompted both lovers to be at each other's throat? Could it be because Ms. Rockmore's ex was still in the picture?
When I met Miss Rockmore, we had sex on the first night. I got to know her, and when I was getting to know her, her ex was still involved. And I believe he still got something to do with her while we was trying to get to know each other. And I don't know what they had going on, but I mean, that's one of my doubts.
Ms. Rockmore said she had sex with Mr. Black on the same day of meeting him because she was attracted to him. She said it shouldn't have happened, but it did. And she wasn't having sex with anyone at the time. She said she wasn't in a relationship with anybody either. The look on Mr. Black's face was that of doubt, but he kept silent.
Miss Rockmore, sex with somebody unprotected after you just walking around an apartment complex.
Because I really liked him.
Tell me?
It was just more because I really was, like, I was just instantly attracted to him when I first seen him. Yeah, I shouldn't have had sex with him the first night, but, you know, it happened.
So bottom line is you did, and there was no protection used?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Black said he had his doubts because during the time of talking with Ms. Rockmore, her ex was still coming around. He said he saw her with her ex, that the ex walked past him while talking to Ms. Rockmore, and he later took her to the store. He said he knew it was her ex because Ms. Rockmore told him.
I'm doubtful because at the time I was there and I was talking to her, that period of time, I seen her ex involved with her. I don't know if she's capable of having sex with me.
So you said you saw her with her ex?
Yes, ma'am. He walked past me while I was at our house talking to her, and he went and took her to the store.
The judge asked Mr. Black that if he didn't see the ex doing anything with Ms. Rockmore besides going to the store, why was he then doubtful? Mr. Black said he believes that a man would not be involved in a woman's life for nothing, that he would always be expecting something in return.
When you were talking, was this during the window of conception? Because you were doing more than talking since you standing here now. This during the window of conception? So I'm trying to understand the doubt, Mr. Black, because you say I'm doubtful that the child could be mine even though I slept with her during the window of conception without protection.
Ms. Rockmore said when she found out she was pregnant, the first person she told was her mother. She said she followed her to see the doctor. She said after leaving the doctor's office, she called Mr. Black to tell him about the pregnancy. She said he didn't believe her until she showed him a sonogram.
So now, Ms. Rockmore, at some point you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am. The first person that I told was my mom, and that's because she went to the doctor with me. As soon as I left the doctor, I called Mr. Black to let him know that I was pregnant. And at the time, he didn't believe me. I showed him a sonogram picture. Then that's when he believed me.
Mr. Black submitted a calendar to the court. The dates on the calendar showed when he had sex with Ms. Rockmore, and when he left, and when she told him she was pregnant. He said, according to those dates, that there's no way he's the father of the child. The judge pointed out how close the dates were, that he could be responsible for the pregnancy pregnancy. The entire courtroom clapped.
So you believe there's no way based on this calendar that you are the father?
Yes, ma'am. Ain't no way I can be the father at all.
I may not be an OBGYN.
Yes, ma'am.
I was pretty. I'm counting back and I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I land in July.
Mr. Black said it was all about sex for him, that it was meant to be a one-time thing. The entire courtroom gasped in disgust. He said the baby just happened to come out of it. He said it might be a blessing, but he will not sit there and assume responsibilities for another person's child. The judge asked Ms. Rockmore if Mr. Black had been there for the child. She said no, that he hasn't.
I didn't give him the name. She gave him the name. I didn't agree to anything. She put my name on a hospital birth certificate. She gave him my name. I'm just doubtful all over, Your Honor. I mean, all I really wanted to do in the beginning was have sex anyway. Thing that happened and a baby came out of it, which is a blessing, but I'm not trying to sit here and be pinned for somebody's other baby.
Mr. Black's mother was called to the stand. Ms. Black said she was disappointed and enraged that her son would bring Ms. Rockmore to court to prove he's not the father of her child. She said that's his son. The entire courtroom clapped. She said she believed the child was her grandchild. She said her son should step up to the plate. The entire courtroom clapped again.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm his mom, and I bring this young lady to court to prove that's his son. I do believe that's my grandson. I raised my son better than that, to degrade women.
Ms. Black said she has a relationship with the child. She said she loved the child. Mr. Black said he felt bad that his mother was not his side. The whole courtroom jeered. Mr. Black said he has 3 daughters and that Ms. Rockmore's child doesn't look like any of his kids. He said he has a wife at home, that he's engaged. More jeers erupted in the courtroom. Only the DNA result can put this to bed.
Mr. Black, you are the father.
All right.
Well, there's a saying that mom knows best.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Feel emotional?
Happy. I knew he was my grandson.
Ms. Cherpez, you claim you and your grandmother have been given no choice but to drag the defendant into court today because you say he moved away and abandoned your 9-month-old daughter, Araya. You believe the DNA results will prove that he is her biological father, and you demand he stops running from his responsibilities. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
What could have brought a grandmother and her granddaughter to Judge Lauren's courtroom? Ms. Chirpies and her seemingly sweet grandmother claims Mr. McQueen abandoned her child. They also claim that he's a deadbeat father that hasn't done anything for his child besides a box of diapers. The question on everyone's mind is, who is the guilty party here? Can Mr. McQueen prove that he's not the father of the child?
So, Ms. Cherpez, tell me, what has Mr. McQueen done for your daughter so far?
He has bought her 1 box of diapers and like 2 things of wipes.
So she's 8 months old, 9 months old, pretty much nothing?
Yep.
Mr. McQueen said he bought things for the child on 3 different occasions before leaving, including diapers. He said he dropped off some clothes for the grandmother too. He said he didn't believe he's still the father, but he still stepped up to the best of his ability. He said he had doubts because when they were together, her attention was always divided because of other men.
The first day I met her, I brought her diapers. The 3rd time she let me see Araya, I also brought her diapers and wipes, and the last time that I was trying to see her before I did leave the state of Michigan, I dropped off clothes and boxes of diapers and 3 packs of wipes to her grandmother.
Mr. McQueen said they were in a committed relationship. Ms. Chirpis confirmed this. Ms. Peggy, directing her gaze towards Mr. McQueen, said that she asked him when he was on their porch if he wanted this baby, and he said yes. He said he wanted the baby in the family, and now he's standing here in court doing the opposite. Some members of the audience sighed in agreement.
So tell me, what was the nature of your relationship? Were you committed? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes, we were committed, yes.
So you were boyfriend and girlfriend in a committed relationship?
Yes.
You were boyfriend and girlfriend, Ms. Cherpez?
Yes. Mr. McQueen?
Yes.
On our porch, I asked you if you wanted this baby and that this baby was yours, and you told me yes, that you wanted the baby and you wanted this family, and now you're standing here.
Mr. McQueen said it changed because he wants to know if the child is his or not. Ms. Chirpies said the only reason Mr. McQueen was doubting her was because he was unfaithful. Mr. McQueen didn't deny the claims. Ms. Chirpis said Mr. McQueen doesn't trust himself, so he was projecting his insecurities on her.
How did
Yeah.
it change?
It changed because I want to know if it's mine or not.
The only reason you're questioning me is because you were unfaithful.
I was unfaithful, yes.
And so you caught him cheating on you.
Yep.
And how did this lead to the paternity question? I mean, if you say you were faithful, he cheated on you, that still has nothing to do with Araya's paternity.
Ms. Chirpis said she found out Mr. McQueen was cheating when she set him up. She said she deceived him by telling him she was going over to her dad's for a few days, and she only spent a few hours there. When she returned, she caught Mr. McQueen with another woman in the house. She said she told the other woman to leave because she had her 3-year-old daughter with her.
Not necessarily set him up. I had told him I was going to my dad's for about 4 days. I had only went there for a few hours. And I told my dad that I just had this weird feeling. And as soon as I pulled in the driveway, I just instantly knew. And he came to the window, looked out, and I had told him to unlock my door. He had unlocked it, but stood in front of the door to where I couldn't open it all the way. And he's like, "You're gonna be mad." And I played dumb. I heard her talking.
So you opened the door and someone was there?
Yep.
Mr. McQueen said he has heard numerous times, and he has seen through the corner of his eyes when he peeked at Ms. Chirpis's phone that she was getting the attention of different men. He said she's also getting money from other men while he's working 12 hours a day. He said Ms. Chirpis once told him she was going to her dad's to do laundry, and he found out that she went to another man's house and spent the night.
Do you believe at the end of the day he thinks you're cheating because he's the one that's cheating?
Yes.
Mr. McQueen, is there truth to that? Are you just out there doing the wrong thing and you think she is too? What evidence do you have that she's even cheating?
I have heard numerous times and have seen her phone from the corner eye view of walking by that she is getting attention of other men. She's getting money from other men while I am working 12 hours a day.
Ms. Chirpis said it was true. There were murmurs throughout the entire courtroom. Ms. Chirpis said she slept over at another man's house because Mr. McQueen brought a woman to their house. She said she did it to avoid fighting. Ms. Chirpis said Mr. McQueen has brought about 3 different women to the house before. Whoa, resonated throughout the courtroom.
Is that true, Ms. Chirpis?
Yes.
So you did? You went to another man's house and spent the night?
Yeah, because he had brought a woman to our house. So to kind of avoid the fighting, I had left, yes.
Ms. Chirpis said she had guy friends, and she wasn't intimate with any of them. Mr. McQueen said a week after he left his house that Ms. Chirpis moved her ex-boyfriend in, the one that was giving her money. He said 2 weeks after that, he heard she was sleeping with another man. There were murmurs in the audience. Ms. Chirpis said it was all hearsay, nothing concrete.
Talking to I have guy friends. I'm allowed to have friends.
So you have guy friends?
Yeah.
None of whom you've been intimate with?
Nope.
A week after I left my house, she moved her ex-boyfriend in, the one she was getting money with before. A week after that, I heard she was sleeping with another man, and then 3 weeks after that, she chose another one.
Ms. Chirpis said Mr. McQueen cheated on her 2 weeks after finding out she was pregnant. Ms. Peggy said the responsibilities had fallen on her and her husband, that Mr. McQueen was the one that was excited about the baby. Mr. Glerber, the man Ms. Chirpis spent the night with, was called to the stands. Mr. Glerber said he has a sexual relationship with Ms. Chirpis. Only the DNA results can settle this debacle once and for all.
The biological father is Mr. McQueen. See? You are the father, Mr. McQueen.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Where do we go from here?
Back home and I'm there 100%, Your Honor.
Thank you, because I'm tired.
I can tell she is just that. For 8 months, she's had to fill in your shoes. Ms. Luce, you are suing the defendant for $2,716.86 of back child care expenses for your son, Marley.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say there's no need for a paternity test because you're certain he is your baby's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Will that be the case of Ms. Luce versus Mr. Zuniga? Ms. Luce claims that Mr. Zuniga is the father of her child after a 2-week fling, and he owes her a backlog of childcare expenses. She even brought the receipts like a store clerk manager. Mr. Zuniga claims he is not the father, and he doesn't owe her a dime. Which of them is telling the truth?
And your son.
For the first 4 months of my son's life, he was there. He stepped up. He was a man. He wanted to be his father. He was excited about everything. And then all fell through. He abandoned us. I had to take care of my son alone, on my own. I had to pay for every little bit of the expenses, all the diapers, all the wipes, every single piece of clothing he needed.
Mr. Zuniga said he didn't abandon the child because he never really felt he was the father. He said Ms. Luce felt easy, that they had sex on the first day. He said he spent most of his earnings the previous year on the child. Ms. Luce said Mr. Zuniga paid for the crib and some clothes, and that was all.
No idea who he is.
Mr. Zuniga, did you abandon them?
First of all, Your Honor, I didn't feel like I abandoned him. At first, I never really thought the kid was mine. From day one, she seemed easy. We had sex the first day.
So, have you helped at all with Marley?
Yeah.
Any money, any financial support?
Mr. Zuniga said he never really knew Ms. Luce. He said he met her through a mutual friend. They had unprotected sex. He said he found out she wasn't into relationships, that she hops from man to man. Ms. Luce said she wasn't sleeping with anyone else while she was intimate with Mr. Zuniga.
$16.86. Mr. Zuniga, I need to understand your doubt.
First of all, I never really knew her.
Okay, you slept with her, right?
I met her.
Oh, no, answer my
through a
question.
mutual friend.
You
Yeah.
slept with her, right?
Yes.
Did you use protection?
No.
Well, you know her now.
Yes.
Mr. Zuniga said he didn't have any other children. He said he always thought he was sterile. He said he has had a lot of sport-related injuries. He said he has been in 3 long-term relationships where he has tried to have kids, and he couldn't. Ms. Luce said she didn't have any doubt because she was only sleeping with Mr. Zuniga.
Mr. Zuniga, do you have any other children?
No, ma'am. I've always thought I was sterile.
You do?
Yes. Putting the long relationships aside and trying to have, kids with them and consulting doctors. I did a lot of sports. I've had a lot of sports-related injuries. I think that might have something to do with it. I've been in at least 3 long-term relationships where I've tried to have children with them.
Mr. Zuniga said a lady once approached him and told him that Ms. Luce was cheating on him with her husband. Mr. Zuniga said the baby looked like the man. They both have red hair and blue eyes. Ms. Luce said she did have a sexual relationship with the man in question, but it happened after she had broken up with Mr. Zuniga.
Kids until he got off work.
Your Honor, may I add something?
Yes, sir. What would you like to add?
While I was at work, I asked her what she used to do. And she used to tell me she was going to her brother figure house and getting her moped fixed. I mean, that thing's probably still broke right now.
Mr. Zuniga said they were only together for 2.5 weeks. He said that Ms. Luce could have been pregnant before he even slept with her. The judge told Ms. Luce that she was a beautiful young woman, that she shouldn't live up to her last name. Ms. Luce called a witness. It was Mr. Zuniga's mother. The entire courtroom gasped.
As far as I know, she could have been pregnant before I even got with her.
Why are you young people running around having unprotected sex with people you knew for 2 weeks? Okay, Miss Luce, you worrying me now. Because, no, you're a beautiful young girl, and I don't want you living up to your last name.
Ms. Kimberly said she loves her son. She said she submitted pictures to the court showing how much Mr. Zuniga and the baby looked alike. Mr. Zuniga said that his mother has always wanted him to have kids. Ms. Kimberly said that wasn't the case, that her son goes through women like toilet paper. She thought Ms. Luce was just a fling until the baby came along.
Mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Explain to the court how you feel about this situation.
I love my son, don't get me wrong. I really honestly love my son, and I would be on my son's side, but his reasonings are crazy to me. What makes you have a baby? Sex. What did they do? Have unprotected sex.
A picture of Mr. Zuniga holding the baby was displayed on the monitor. He said he wasn't a jerk and that he didn't have a father growing up. Ms. Luce said he agreed to give the baby his last name. Mr. Zuniga refuted the claims. He said Ms. Luce gave the child his last name without his consent. Ms. Kimberly said her son was upset when he couldn't be present for the birth of the child.
Like you.
Babies don't look like nobody when they're born.
Right here, we have in the monitor a picture of you holding the baby.
Well, I'm not a jerk, Your Honor. I didn't have a dad.
You agreed to give him your last name.
Yes.
I didn't give him my last name.
This
She
is
did that
important.
on my
Hold on.
consent.
Yes,
this is
Ms.
important to
Vertigan,
me.
say what you need to say.
He was so upset we couldn't make it. He was mad.
Mr. Zuniga said he signed the birth certificate when the baby was born, but Ms. Luce lost the paperwork. The lie detector results were presented. It showed that Ms. Luce was lying about sleeping with other men at the same time she was seeing Mr. Zuniga. A DNA test was ordered. Both parties returned to the court. Only the DNA results can settle this matter.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Zuniga, you are his father.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Ms. Torrey and Ms. Henderson, you have both with cases against the defendant, Mr. Goodson. You have joined together because you, Ms. Torrey, claim the defendant is of your 2 kids.
Life, they say, is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. This certainly was not what two women, Ms. Torrey and Ms. Henderson, was expecting when they had intimate relationships with Mr. Goodson. They both claim that Mr. Goodson is the father of their respective children. Mr. Goodson wasn't buying any of it. He's adamant he's not responsible. Could they all be lying? Ms. Henderson said the police showed up next and told them to get out of the car. Mr. Goodson denied the whole ordeal. His mother told her that Mr. Goodson stole her quarter to come and see her. Ms. Henderson said she didn't know the car was stolen. Mr. Goodson said it happened because Ms. Henderson wanted to leave his cousin for him.
Mama said she's her car to come and see me.
Ms. Henderson said she became intimate with Mr. Goodson after he came out of jail for stealing the car. She went out and got drunk. She said they had sex that day. She said they continued having unprotected sex for up to a year. Mr. Goodson said it was with him and his cousin. Ms. Henderson refused. Mr. Thomas was called to the stands. He said his relationship with Ms. Henderson was strictly sexual, that she was a one-night stand. He said that either him or Mr. Goodson was the father. Ms. Torrey said she met Mr. Goodson through one of her cousins.
Just happened.
Ms. Torrey said ever since she had her son that Mr. Henderson has been denying him. Mr. Goodson said he liked Ms. Torrey, but he felt that she lied too much. He said she went behind his back to go have sex with another man. Ms. Torrey said he was lying. He said that Ms. Torrey used to call guys in his face, and he did the same thing to her. One of the guys one day, and he said that the child was his. He said he was in a relationship with Ms. Torrey, and she was sleeping with other men. Ms. Torrey said the other guy did it to make Mr. Goodson mad. She said she didn't know the guy was going to say that she wouldn't cheat on somebody like that. Mr. Goodson said he also tattooed her name on him too.
I know because I had the same thing growing up. I ain't have a father, so I know how it feels.
And knowing how it feels, you understand the importance in this courtroom, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have two kids that you claim he's not taking care of.
Right.
Why do you think he's denying?
Mr. Goodson's mother, Ms. Anderson, was called to the stands. She said she's trying to make his son straight and be a good father. She said she felt sorry for the girls because her son doesn't have a job. Only the DNA test can settle these disputes. Show results.
You are the father.
I knew that any damn way.
4-month-old Dreon, Mr. Goodson, you are the father.
Come on.
It has been determined that when it comes to 4-year-old Lazasia, Mr. Goodson, you are the father.
Yeah.
Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father.
A young woman's world was being shattered by those she had called parents for years. Ms. Adriana, after being lied to for many years, comes to court to find out the truth about who her real father is. The man present in court, Mr. Hunter, claims he's not her father. Her mother, Ms. Tucker, was also present. Will she finally get the closure she has been searching for all her life? Maybe this might end as a family reunion.
I opened my case because for these last few years, I have been trying to get Charles to do a DNA test with me. Twice I scheduled a test, he didn't show up. And it's just a lot of confusion in my own mind. And it's very traumatic to me. I'm trying to figure out if he's my father or not to close this chapter in my life.
Mr. Hunter said he wants Ms. Adriana to find out who her real father is. He said he had doubts because Ms. Tucker told him he wasn't the father 30 years ago. Ms. Tucker said she told her that someone else was her father at the time. She said it was to protect her because she felt that Mr. Hunter wasn't a good role model. She said the man she was dating at the time wasn't good either.
And so, Mom, Miss Tucker?
Yes, Your Honor.
You hear your daughter speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
Express her pain?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he was her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Adriana said she believed the other man was her father growing up. She said she only heard his name growing up, and his sister used to come and get her, and they treated her like family. She said she was with his family every weekend, but she never met him. Not once. She said he was never around.
So, Miss Tucker, tell me, who did you believe was your father early in life?
I believe the other gentleman was my father. I always grew up only hearing his name, and his sister used to come and get me, and they treated me as their own. Every weekend, I would be with his family.
Ms. Adriana said she spoke with the other for the first time on the telephone when she was in the 5th grade. She said the other man told her that her mom wasn't being honest with her, that she knows she wasn't his daughter. Some members of the audience gasped. She said she got off the phone traumatized.
To meet me, she believed that I was his daughter, and I walked in and I asked, was that him on the phone? And she said yes. She gave me the phone, and it was my first time ever talking to him. I was really excited.
Ms. Adriana said she was in the 7th grade when she heard about Mr. Hunter. She said a woman told her she looked just like her dad, and she mentioned Mr. Hunter's name. Ms. Adriana said she got home and told her mother. Her mother told her the woman was lying, that she didn't know what she was talking about.
I was in the 7th grade, and where we're from is very small. So I was at a store, and there's a woman who knows them both, and she told me, she said, you look just like your dad.
Mr. Hunter said when he found out Ms. Tucker was pregnant, she told him the baby wasn't his. So he left and got his own place and tried to get life together. He said he stayed gone for 15 to 16 years. Then he came back and he started hearing rumors that he's the father of Ms. Adriana. Ms. Adriana said Mr. Hunter came to her school and told her that he was her father. She said she told him no.
You were dating exclusively? You were boyfriend and girlfriend, or just...
Yeah, for a short while.
Okay.
Yeah, for a short while. But when she told me she was pregnant, she said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. And I stayed gone for 15, 16 years. I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine.
Mr. Hunter said he vaguely remembers the conversation. He said it was a long time ago. He said he could have been joking. The judge interrupted him abruptly, saying that it was inappropriate to do that to a child and chalk it up as a joke, that it was a serious matter. The entire courtroom clapped in agreement.
Pretty much probably what they were going back and forth about was me.
So, Mr. Hunter, did you show up at the school and tell Miss Tucker, I'm your father?
That was a long time ago.
Mr. Hunter regrettably admits that when he heard the rumors that Ms. Adriana could have been his daughter, that he should have stepped up. The judge was nodding in agreement. He said he wasn't denying her, but he wasn't sure because they've had a DNA test yet, that he had things on his plate at the time.
But that's one reason why I've continued to seek you, because of what you told me that day. That's just the truth.
I'll admit that when I found some words out that she might have been my daughter, I should have stepped up and did something. So I had a lot of things on my plate, but I wasn't denying her.
Ms. Adriana said she was 23 when her mother told her that Mr. Hunter could be her real father. She said her aunt was the one that told her. Mr. Hunter said he felt the reason Ms. Tucker was resentful towards him was because he slept with her sister. Ms. Adriana said this is the most she has gotten out of both of her parents on this issue. She said it shouldn't have come to this. Only the DNA results can stop her pain.
Mr. Hunter, you are not the father. I'm sorry, Adriana.
It's okay. I just wanted answers so that I don't have to keep interrupting his life or, keep going through this in my own life. So,
Ms. Ganal, you and your sister agree that the man you've known to be your father is denying paternity.
Yes.
Yet you disagree about why you've come to court today. One of you is hoping the DNA test will prove he is your biological father.
Almost like the Dickens novel, this was a tale of two sisters, Ms. Kira and Ms. Geinold. They both claim that Mr. Harden, the man they've known their whole life, is denying paternity. They said he was never around. Mr. Harden said he's being burdened with child support payments. One of the sisters is hoping the DNA results will prove that Mr. Harden is their father, while the other is hoping that he's not. Unexpected twist. Which one of them will get their wish?
Why you've always had doubts. So, Ms. Ganal, first, just explain to the court, when's the last time you saw this man?
Mr. Harden actually came to our house in Minnesota. And with his two sisters.
Ms. Kira, with glistened eyes, said she wanted Mr. Harden to be in her life so badly. She said during her sporting events in school, she wanted him to be there. She said she watched through the windows hoping to see him, but Mr. Harden never showed up. She said they waited and waited and he never showed up.
I wanted this man so bad in my life. I played basketball, I ran track. All my friends had both mom and dad there. I had my mom. I wanted him. I watched through my windows and watched raindrops fall, and he wasn't there.
Mr. Harden said their mother didn't allow him to come around at all. He said there's no way he wouldn't want to be around his daughters. Ms. Geinold said he was lying. Mr. Harden said he had his doubts because he usually catches their mother with different men during the course of their relationship. He said the first time he caught their mother cheating, His first daughter was 6 weeks old.
Mother didn't allow me to come around them at all. There's no way that I would not want to be around my daughters, Your Honor.
You're lying right there.
I asked for a paternity test from day one. And, Your Honor, I've always doubted because I used to catch Ms. Gannell.
Mr. Harden said that when their mother was pregnant with the first child, he knew there was a possibility he was the father, but he was entirely sure because she had slept with his friends prior to that. The entire courtroom gasped. He said he had to take a break before they got back together a month later.
That Shanice, your oldest daughter, is yours. What specific thing happened?
They were 9 years old before she said that I was the father.
Well, look, when you found out she was pregnant, did you think the baby was yours?
There was a possibility, Your Honor. But
you only felt there was a possibility?
Yes, because she had slept with 2 of my friends prior to that.
Ms. Terry, the mother, was called to the stands. She said she was dealing with somebody prior to when she got together with Mr. Harden. She said Mr. Harden was also in a relationship. She said she was sleeping with somebody else before she got together with Mr. Harden. So there's a possibility concerning paternity for her first daughter.
He was their biological father because you had been unfaithful. Were you unfaithful?
I was dealing with somebody prior to us getting together, and like I said, prior to us getting together, he was also in a relationship. And when I first got pregnant, he was excited about it.
Mr. Harden said he didn't sign any parental documents, nor did he sign the birth certificates. He said he got a court order because he was late for court. He said they took his truck driver's license. He said because he was late to court, he was named the father by default. He said he begged for a paternity test. He even petitioned the court.
Any documents?
Just like I never signed any parental documents, no birth certificates, nothing. I was issued a court order because I was late for court in the initial court date, and they ruled as default.
Ms. Kira said Mr. Harden was only concerned about the DNA tests when he started paying child support, that he cared more about his money. Mr. Harden said he asked the court several times to do a paternity test. The judge asked why he didn't just ask his daughters. He said he was unavailable most times and he didn't have the funds. Ms. Kira said she told him she would pay for it. The entire courtroom clapped.
It's all about the money. The money. You never, when you started paying child support payments, that's when you wanted DNA tests. You didn't have none of this before.
I was garnished from.
So listen, let me ask
you
you this, Mr. Harden. So you requested a paternity test.
Yes, Your Honor, several times.
You weren't granted one by the court.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Harden said Ms. Terry told him to contact the other fellow she used to date, that there was a possibility the other man could be the father. Ms. Terry said it was a lie. Mr. Harden wasn't giving in. He said Ms. Terry gave him the phone number. The judge asked Ms. Terry if the other men that were involved were also contacted concerning child support payments. She said no, that they were not contacted.
Came out of her mouth with a conversation. She told me that she wanted me to contact the other fellow that she used to date, that may be a possibility. She asked me to give me her number, and she said that basically she doesn't know, and they may not be mine, period.
Ms. Gannell said Mr. Harden is denying them because he doesn't want to pay the backlog of child support. Mr. Harden said Ms. Terry told him that he was not the father back then. Ms. Terry said it was a lie. Mr. Harden submitted evidence showing where his checks were going. Mr. Harden said he hopes they're both his daughters and he wants to get over it. Only the DNA results can settle this family matter.
Mr. Harden, you are her father.
I told you. I told you. All these years that you and I have been told you. All these years I told you that was your kid.
I needed that.
Let me
I'm
talk.
telling you how I feel.
Well, let me tell you how I feel.
When he first contacted her, Miss Agee felt like the ground would swallow her whole. How could this man leave her fatherless for 30 years and now wants to be back in her life? It didn't make any sense.
You know my name, you know my birthday, you know everything. There's internet. I look for you. I searched for you.
If you were a man and responsible, you would have signed the birth certificate.
I didn't want the children in the first place. She was the one that wanted marriage and babies. She stopped taking the pill and got pregnant.
2 men and a woman found themselves entangled in a 3-decade-old mystery. Mr. Tillman and Mr. Johnson are both vying for the title of dad, all thanks to their shared connection with a baby mama. Now the $1 million question was, who was the biological father amongst them? Well, we're gonna get to the bottom of that.
Was it
It
committed?
started out more like friendship, more so than a committed relationship. But as time grew on and I discovered that she was dealing with other people than myself, so that's when I kind of strayed away.
So you discovered she was also in a relationship with Mr. Johnson.
I didn't necessarily know that they were in a relationship, but I knew that she was dealing with somebody else other than myself.
We have a love triangle on our hands here, people. Nothing new. However, this love triangle was more tangled than a plate of spaghetti. Oh yeah, the baby mama was playing them both, and quite cheekily, may I add. And these guys didn't like being played like a fiddle. More so the joyous news of the baby.
She showed up at my door. She was pregnant, you know. I still jokingly way asked her, what happened to her. And so she told me she was pregnant. It was mine.
She told me she was pregnant, and I asked her, was it from that guy? And she said, yeah, I believe so.
Time to make this plot thick, as the defendant and plaintiff were now swapping stories of their encounters with a baby mama. And during such an encounter, it was revealed the mommy had a fun time with both these guys on the same day. Wow, that's one way to mess up the timelines for sure.
You had sex with her that morning, around about 12 o'clock. With Cece. And
that's Miss Tillman, mother.
Yes, that's her mother. She told me she had sex with you that around about 12 o'clock. And I had stopped by there around about 3 something, and me and her had sex.
I don't remember.
Well, those fun times produce a very real baby. Although both contenders were up for the role of fatherhood initially, it seemed Mr. Tillman pulled a no-show after some time. So not cool. However, in his defense, he claimed he did come to visit his daughter, but the defendant wasn't buying that one bit.
Who was in her life after that? Did you have a relationship with her?
For as I knew, he was gone.
Did you have a relationship to conceive the baby?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. I used to come and get my daughter and take her with me on the weekends, and anything she needed, I did.
When did you come to get her?
Y'all just took my daughter.
When did you come to get her from?
Well, looky here. It appeared not only Mr. Johnson didn't believe a word of the plaintiff, but so did Miss Annetta. Uh-oh! Guess Mr. Tillman had been caught in a lie. But he was still adamant that he did visit, and these guys were the ones who disappeared on him. Moving on, we got to see what the daughter thought of the one who raised her.
Only person I've ever had come pick me up and take me out on the weekends was Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson has always been there for me. So I'm really confused. I don't know. And
baby, after your mother and him sent you to Georgia, I lost contact with you.
But you know my name. You know my
I came back several times trying to find you.
It was certainly not a good day for the dear old plaintiff. The man was being caught in bold lies one after another. He had other plans on the day of the birth, and still he had the gall to maintain his innocence. Then Miss Annetta's birth certificate came up, with a blank space for the father's name, unsurprisingly. And boy, was that a stark reminder of the mystery surrounding her paternity.
How did I get my name?
I signed for you at the hospital after you were born.
This is my birth
I have the
certificate.
original birth certificate.
And it doesn't have
Let me see that, Jerome, hand me that.
Why you left?
Cece got mad at me because she found out I was going to New York to get married, and that's why I think you and her sent my daughter away out of my life. It's not my fault.
What do you mean it's not
It's
your
not
fault?
my
And so the daughter finally blew up on the supposed baby daddy. Mr. Tillman was in for it now. She poured her heart out, and he still tooled the same tune that they disappeared. Well, drama level? Up to 100.
No, the reason I wasn't in your life, baby, because they sent you away.
I don't care about what they did.
Well,
you are a grown man. You have your own. You should have did it. You shouldn't have stopped. You knew I was out there. Did you not know I was out there?
Yes, I knew you was out there, and I tried my best to find you.
Girlfriend to the rescue. Yup, Mr. Tillman still had at least one person in his corner. His girlfriend came up to the podium to stand with him in support. Oh, she did a lot more than just that. She also shared his side of the story. Could this get any more complicated, man?
He brings out her birth certificate, said I ain't seen her in all these years. This man's almost come to tears because he hasn't seen her in over 30 years. They've taken her from him.
What I'm saying, what I don't get, you saying that you didn't know where she was.
I didn't.
But yet you said that you came.
This decades-old paternity mystery had gone on long enough. The results were in, and were about to be revealed. Let's see if the daughter gets what she was hoping for, or if fate has other plans.
Mr. Tillman, you are her father.
I knew it. I knew it.
It's all right.
Little baby, I'm sorry, but it was not my fault. No matter how much you're trying to blame me, they took you away from me.
A paternity mystery that has been simmering for 34 years. Yup. Miss Krieger claimed Mr. Dittmer's denial of parenthood was about as believable as the Loch Ness Monster. He, on the other hand, insisted he got hoodwinked into paying child support, and now he wanted payback.
Her best friend's folks told me she was messing around with this guy about the time that Jamie was conceived. So yes, she was messing around.
That's a lie.
No, it's not.
Now, this is unfortunate, Miss Krieger, Jamie, that you have to hear any of this.
From what I hear, my mom's admitted it was, but it was the sister before me.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, because we're in for a wild ride. The baby mama immediately went into picture evidence, but Mr. Lee wasn't falling for that. Furthermore, he accused the baby mama, albeit a bit boldly, that she had been tricking him all his life. Uh-oh, trouble? Nope, much more like disaster in paradise.
Everybody, when there's babies born, compare and say how much they look like me on my dad's side of the family also. How could they look like me if I have a different dad, and that's from my dad's side of the family?
The older two children have blue eyes and blonde hair. Jamie's always had darker hair with a hazel or brown.
And you never claimed them or paid child support on them. Why?
Oh, the doubts and reservations hovering over Miss Krieger's pregnancy. These guys shared 2 more children, and yet Mr. Dittmer, our doubtful dad, was feeling as betrayed as Jon Snow in Game of Thrones.
She's the one that looks different than the older children. The older children have blonde hair, blue eyes. Jamie has dark hair, hazel or brown eyes. The older children are more athletic. Well, why would she trick me into paying child support like that, Your Honor? I mean, I wasn't even at the hospital when Jamie was born.
Moving on, we got to know the side of the daughter as to when she got to know about this all. And before the poor girl could finish, there went Mr. Lee interjecting again. He claimed Miss Lee switched her relationship status from committed to it's complicated with a side of other people. So much so as accusing the baby mama of going off the pill, with a dash of born-again virgin criticism. Yikes!
He kept saying that I would kidnap the kids, that she'd never see them again. It took me 2 years to get visitation, then they gave me supervised visitation.
No, it was your drinking, like you said earlier. I wasn't gonna let my little children go with you drunk and have you driving with them drunk.
If you didn't think Miss Krieger was your biological child, why the visits?
Let the he said, she said battle commence. Both these guys were accusing each other of infidelity and whatnot. And some of it was true, though. Still, the baby daddy maintained he paid child support, and it wasn't about the money.
I've got the final payment right here. I'd like to present it to the court. I ended up talking to the attorney for the friend of the court, and I settled with him. They said I owed $13,000 at that time, and he said only $3,000 was owed in child support, that the rest of it was administrative fees, interest, and surcharges.
Yes.
Up next, we got to see the daughter accepting some of the things the supposed baby daddy did for her. However, the fella did pull some evil moves on her and her children, and those involved telling people he wasn't her father and their grandpa. Seriously, man?
He's helped me some, but he's also griped the whole way through. He told my daughter's dad that I wasn't his, and I had to hear about it, which is pretty...
No, I never told her.
What happened?
I told my middle child's dad, you guys were drinking, yes, but still.
About time the daughter poured out everything that had been bottled up inside her all these years, and she most definitely did. She shared how her life had been with the defendant behaving like that. And man, did that make the baby daddy a heartless jerk.
Well, I don't even know if I'm yours, but I just gave you $20 to help you buy some diapers. And so it got to the point where, why ask him for help? I mean, he's just got it in the back of his mind. I'm not his kid. It makes me feel worthless, and like, it's a lot of emotional abuse, and that's what sticks with you, and that's what stays.
The moment of truth, folks. It was here. And when I say we were ready for it, you better believe me. Because this indeed was a wild ride stuffed with emotions. Miss Jamie was here for some much-needed answers, and Judge Lake had them for her. Here we go.
You are her father.
I never had any doubts. It's just been dealing with all this.
And Mr. Dittmer?
I feel kind of relieved, Your Honor. I'm glad that she is, but her mother put such a doubt in my mind.
Mr. Alexander was suing to remove his name from his alleged 4-month-old daughter's birth certificate, claiming there was no way he was the dad. On the flip side, Miss Stewart also sued the baby daddy for childcare expenses and swore Mr. Alexander was the biological father. It's gonna be a long battle, and neither seems to want to back down.
You are suing your ex-girlfriend for $40 for the cost of the administration fee to legally remove your name from her 4-month-old daughter, Jariah's birth certificate, because there is absolutely no way you are her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's rewind the tape to when these two lovebirds were on the rocks. After spotting some shady texts and calls from a mysterious Dexter on the baby mama's phone, the man's suspicions went through the roof, and that was just the start. But instead of confronting her, he let his doubts simmer. Then came a drunken bowling night when Miss Stewart left him with the kids and vanished till the wee hours. Now, that doesn't sound so good.
I seen text messages and several phone calls from this guy named Dexter. She wouldn't answer the phone when I was in the room. I guess she would wait until maybe I left or whatever, so that's kind of a suspicion for me.
But you never questioned her about it?
Yeah, I asked her about it, and she told me, like, don't worry about it, like, basically, like, it's none of my business.
Time to dive headfirst into the pregnancy drama. Miss Stewart ended up dropping the pregnancy bomb on the defendant, but the timing was sketchy. These guys had been on a break for 3 months, and there had been no hanky-panky. But that's not what Miss Stewart believed, and she took matters into her own hands then.
I didn't tell him because we were rocky at that time. It wasn't a solid foundation, so I didn't want to make it even worse by bringing the baby into the situation.
I did have doubt because when she told me she was pregnant, we were actually on a 3-month break, and we got back together like 2 months after that, and then that's when she told me she was pregnant.
Miss Stewart not only played detective, she also brought the evidence along with her to the court. Now that's what I'm talking about. However, that evidence didn't paint the baby daddy in good colors. Oh, he was up to no good at all.
The first one at the bottom, the 7:08 p.m., that is when he was gone. He told me that he was at his aunt's house, and obviously you can see there he's talking to a girl right there.
So at 7:08 p.m., his phone got a text from a number that's not yours that says, I'm looking forward to tonight.
Yes.
Now, where does this mysterious Dexter come into this mix? The defendant wanted Mr. Alexander to feel exactly the way she did, and she concocted a plan with the help of her best friend. Enter Dexter.
I came up with a plan with my best friend. I changed her name in my phone to Dexter, and I was texting her pretending I was talking to a dude just so that he would think I was cheating because he cheated.
I've seen the text message about can I come see you? How you doing?
Yeah,
like that's her man when I'm supposed to be her man.
Mr. Alexander's sister came up next as his witness, and though she claimed to have been friends with the defendant for a long time, she sided with her brother on this one. She spilled the beans about secret breakup plans and hanging out with other guys, a tit-for-tat game that had been tearing this relationship apart.
Miss Stewart and I have been friends for over 15 years. We've always talked and told each other secrets about, having backup plans as far as if you have a boyfriend, keeping one on the side for when your boyfriend makes you mad, you can, just go talk to other guys or whatever. So as far as this guy goes, it's not a hoax. They actually hang out all the time.
No, that's false.
Next up, the baby mama shared how the plaintiff had taken no part in the pregnancy journey. She had been doing it all on her own with no help from him. So much so, the baby daddy ended up calling the beautiful baby something. Uh-oh, that's not gonna fly in this court, man.
Out of all of my doctor's appointments, he's only came to the finding out the gender, and then the last 2, I've gone to all of them by myself.
And this hurts you so much because you thought he would be there?
Yeah, and she doesn't deserve that. Look at her. She's so cute. Like, why would you deny her? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Moving on, Miss Stewart presented some more evidence of the baby daddy's bad attitude and plain spiteful behavior towards the child. And the guy showed no remorse at all over this. Check out the nerve of this baby daddy.
First you say, I need a favor. You're gonna be busy Sunday or Monday. And then he says, I don't know, it depends. And then you say, okay, well, I need you to watch the kids while I get my hair done. He says, I'll watch Jacoby But Jariah, hell nah, find her daddy.
Time to take the baby mama and the baby out of their misery. They wanted the paternity doubt to be resolved once and for all. Will the results be able to shut the baby up or not? We'll see about that.
Mr. Alexander, you are her father.
I'm just happy at the end that the results came back like I said that they would. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever. 18,
So you had grown up that year?
I wasn't grown up. No.
So you tried to get pregnant on purpose by
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am,
J
I did.
Because you wanted to marry him that
Yes,
bad.
ma'am, I did, and I don't regret it, and I'd do it again.
A tumultuous relationship was built on shaky ground, and now it was shaken like crazy. Miss Salvo wanted the defendant to step up and be a father, but he wasn't singing that tune. Not so much. Apparently, the guy had proof that he wasn't the father, and baby mama was very particular about her taste in men.
How involved has Mr. Gonzalez been in your daughter's life thus far?
Your Honor, he knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time. I was drunk, he came over, he got me at the right time.
Miss Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez's love story reads more like a parody of a romantic comedy. She claimed it was a one-time passion. However, Mr. Gonzalez insisted it was a series of rendezvous. Yup, and he went quite graphic with the detail. Cue the sarcastic slow clap, please.
I was thirsty. I got up. I went to get something to drink in the kitchen. When I opened the fridge, I was naked. Her mom saw me. Her mom was like, wow. Her mom didn't get mad at me or nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You were naked in her kitchen and she said, wow.
Yes, ma'am.
The plot thickened as the baby mama explained the circumstances that led up to the pregnancy, juggling men like a circus performer. Yup. But in her defense, it was only 2 men. Guess she was playing the field and doing her thing.
The reason we stopped with contact because, he did help me financially when I was pregnant because at first I thought that she was his. But when I had her, when I looked at her, I just knew it wasn't his. My ex-boyfriend, she doesn't look like that. She looks Hispanic to the fullest. His current kids look a lot different than that.
Now, initially, the baby mama wasn't sure baby Amaya was her boyfriend's. But that theory went out the window pretty soon when she started resembling the defendant day by day. And so, the alarm bell started ringing off in her head. She had picture evidence to support her claim as well.
You claim Mr. Gonzalez has a dimple, and here, Amaya, I see that one dimple. So you believe this is the reason why she's ultimately his biological child?
Yes, ma'am.
What other reason, though? Jerome can attest to this. We see in this courtroom all the time that looks can be deceiving.
Looks can be awfully deceiving. The paternity court was certainly proof of that enough. And so, the judge ended up raising the most important question of all. Did the supposed boyfriend have a paternity test done on him? Let's see what the mommy had to say about that.
Did you test your ex at all?
I did test him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, and what happened?
He's not the father.
Well, that's what your evidence is, Miss Salvo. Okay, so you had your ex tested, and it would reveal that he was excluded as a possibility.
Yeah.
Enter the doubts and betrayals, ladies and gentlemen, because the baby daddy was still denying paternity. Mr. Gonzalez countered with accusations, including an eyebrow-raising revelation about a best friend's involvement. Looks like he wasn't the only Hispanic the baby mama had a dalliance with. Trust issues? More like trust obliterated.
Your best friend had naked pictures of Miss Salvo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Salvo?
He's lying.
Miss Salvo, were you with any other men during this window of time?
No.
Besides your ex-boyfriend and Mr. Gonzalez?
I was with nobody. I don't even know who his supposed to be best friend is because he didn't even talk to nobody.
A wild ride of emotions and questionable decisions coming right up, people. Better buckle up. Looks like Miss Salvo took a trip to the mall to meet a certain someone, and the supposed motorcycle rendezvous ultimately ended up exposing her.
Miss Salvo, do you remember that afternoon, that evening?
Your Honor, the day I went to the mall was to meet up with my current ex-boyfriend. That was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was
a kid. I did everything with whoever. 18,
So you had grown up that year?
I wasn't grown up, no.
Even after all that, Miss Salvo still claimed she was faithful to only 2 men. Yeah, but Mr. Gonzalez wasn't buying it. Nope. Was it a circus or a merry-go-round of lovers? Confusion reigned supreme over here as the baby daddy shared another instance involving yet another Mexican man. Yep, Mama couldn't get enough.
Your Honor, that boy's been obsessed with me since elementary school. I've been with him since elementary school. He said he wanted a kid
You've
by
been
me.
with him since elementary?
No, not with, no.
Okay.
No. He was just a friend, but nothing sexual has ever occurred.
But was that the statement you made to Mr.
No,
Gonzalez?
Your Honor, I told him specifically that he wanted a kid by me.
All this ruckus led to the baby mama raising the baby all by herself. She claimed the baby daddy was of no help at all. Mr. Gonzalez immediately came to his own defense. However, the real role of the father was being played by the plaintiff's fiancée. Yeah, the woman was engaged now. No kidding.
Ms. Salvo says you've been there to help her with the child.
I've been there since day one, since Mike came out.
So was Mr. Gonzalez there? Not there?
No.
And so what do you know about this situation?
Oh, I know. I feel like I'm the daddy, but I don't even have no equipment to be the daddy. But I am the daddy.
Enough with this drama. These guys went nowhere, just kept going around in circles. The results were looming large, and it was the moment to reveal them. Is Mr. Gonzalez gonna hear those 4 magical words? We're about to find out.
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
Can I still come around and see Amaya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still gonna be my daughter. And I told her that before she came to the show.
An angry daddy was here with his daughter, and they were ready to fight the claim of the defendant. All his life, Mr. Jennings believed he was the father of their daughter. And then, out of nowhere, Miss Lynn had a change of heart. But he wasn't ready to let go that easily. And so, they were ready to fight it out.
So, Mr. Jennings, what do you believe is the real reason Ms. Lynn is now saying you aren't the father?
Just out of spite, jealousy.
Spite? Are you spiteful, Ms. Lynn?
No. First and foremost, if I was spiteful, I wouldn't be standing here right now. Because my daughter asked me to be here. And
so
as far
why?
As her being
Why?
13,
Why
I didn't
now?
tell her. His wife told her.
The 2 star-crossed teenagers hell-bent on defying their parents' wishes. Sounds like the plot of a drama, right? Nope, that was just the case with these guys. They rushed with things so fast, you're bound to get dizzy. But hold on, the baby mama was apparently up to no good. There were multiple contenders in the ring. Drama level teenage soap opera.
In order for us to get married at my age without my parents' signature, I had to be pregnant.
So you tried to get pregnant on purpose by
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am,
Jennings?
I did.
Because you wanted to marry him that
Yes,
bad?
ma'am, I did. And I don't regret it, and I'd do it again. Because my daughter came from that. And that's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Let's dive into the doubts and reservations that surrounded the pregnancy. And there were quite a lot. Miss Lynn admitted to sleeping around, but Mr. Jennings claimed he had no idea about her affairs. Nada! The bombshell? Now they were trying to figure out when the daughter was actually conceived.
Mr. Jennings?
He knew I was trying to get pregnant. He never asked for any of the other details. We were in Alabama between February and mid-March. He's got it listed as April and May. That's not true.
So wait, when did you get married? Did you? It says June 21st.
That's correct.
Is that true? Do
That is
anybody
correct.
have proof of that? Bring up.
I do.
About time the baby daddy dropped the bomb that he was in fact aware of only one possible rival in this paternity showdown. But that was their sworn enemy. Oh, mama! But guess what? The dates don't match up at all. Alabama Mountaintop Rendezvous, anyone?
Ms. Lynn, did you ever tell Mr. Jennings that you had also slept with other men, or did you just keep that?
Yes, ma'am, and he was well aware.
Do you remember that conversation, Mr. Jennings?
Yes, but as far as knowing she was trying to get pregnant with other people and all, I know nothing about that. If I'd have known she'd been sleeping with anybody else, I might not even have known Taylor.
Cue the daughter entering this scene with her teenage angst. At 13, she heard the earth-shattering news that Mr. Jennings might not be her real daddy, and so the identity crisis began. But she wasn't giving up. she made it her mission to find out the truth.
When did you start acting on that notion you had? You couldn't let go of this notion.
When I was 23, I asked her and she didn't tell me anything. She went to her room. And so I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go through her people I remember as being her childhood friends and see if any of them know who the other possibilities could be.
Birth certificates and Facebook stalking, the modern day weapons in the battle for paternity truth. Miss Lynn's social media sleuthing led her to a potential biological father. Sherlock Holmes strikes again. But wait, there was another guy in the shadows who wanted no part of this paternity circus. Dear Lord.
Miss Lynn, you knew all about this when she met up with this other man for dinner?
After the fact.
After the fact.
Yes, ma'am.
And the man she reached out to, was she correct? And was he correct? Was he one of the possibilities?
Yes.
He was?
Yes.
And do you believe he is Taylor's biological father?
I honestly don't know, but she does look like him.
It's Judgment Day, and the results were in. Miss Taylor was on the edge of her seat and all ready to put this all behind her once and for all. Let's see whether she gets the answers she was looking for.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jennings, you are not the father. Taylor, I know this was not the news you wanted.
Taylor, just remember this, baby. It takes more than having a baby to be a parent. He's always been your daddy. He's always gonna be your daddy.
Two dads fighting over the same daughter. Both were sure they were the real deal. In one corner, we had Mr. Thompson, who had relations with the mother, while in the other corner was Mr. Fresneda, who was the husband of the said baby mama. The 30-year-long paternity battle was going to reach a conclusion today.
Me and her mother had relations while Miss Fresneda was away. And it came back into the picture. I stopped seeing Sonia and she was pregnant. When the child was born, family members came to me stating, that she looks like me and things of that nature. And Sonia said no, she knows who she got pregnant by.
So here was the scoop. Mr. Thompson had a thing with Miss Robinson's mom way back when, while Mr. Fresneda was MIA. Fast forward to the baby's arrival, and the family started dropping hints that she might be a Thompson, not a Fresneda. Yup. However, the poor girl who was in the middle of all this was left in the dark.
I got a phone call saying that she had passed away, and I was like...
Are you speaking of Jasmine's mother, Miss
Yes,
Robinson's mother?
Yes, and it was her wishes to say that it was Mr. Fresneda's baby. They raised her, but I'm here today to prove that I am the father. In my heart, she's my daughter.
Cue the heartache and betrayal, people, because Miss Robinson was hurt that nobody spilled the beans about her potential paternity. Now, the plaintiff did reach out to her in the past a couple of times, and the last time when he did contact her was after the passing of her mother. Guess the guy was just waiting for this time, and boom! He dropped this bombshell on his daughter.
In June 2010, he had messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, tell your mom that I said hi. But I just brushed it off. I'm like, my mom has her own Facebook page. It's just somebody that she knows. So I just left it alone. Didn't say anything about it. And then 5 years later, in 2015, he had reached out to me again.
Time for a little rewind, folks, because there was a lot to unpack here. Initially, Miss Robinson thought someone was playing a cruel joke on her. But a call with Aunt Felicia, and bam! This nightmare turned into a reality. So the hush-hush love affair of her mother dearest came to light. About time, too.
I had told him, I said, Dad, there's this guy named Ladner Thompson that had reached out to me on Facebook and saying that he's my dad. And then he had said kind of the same story that my Aunt Felicia told me. He said that years ago, he had came around saying that he was my dad, but my mom was saying no, and he loved my mom so much and just loved me so much that he just always said I was his daughter.
Now, the craziest thing was that they all lived in that small town, and Mr. Thompson used to run into the mother and the daughter from time to time, and his heart ached. But the secret was to be kept, so he went along his merry way.
I feel like that's when it really should have came out. Like, you see me and you feel like if you feel in your heart so bad that I'm your daughter.
Yes, and I'm so sorry for that, but their relationship was happy, and at the time when she was conceived, I wasn't sure myself. So it took me a minute to get to where I'm at today. And the reason why I'm here today is because I can't live with it.
Finally, Mr. Fresneda got the much-needed time to state his case. He was fully aware of the situation that went on between his wife and the plaintiff, but he took his wife's word and spent all these years believing that and raising the girl as her own. However, he did have one grievance with Mr. Thompson.
Point I'm trying to make in here, Your Honor, that I wish that he would have addressed me before he sent her a Facebook or whatever. I know he couldn't be able to find me because we had no contact with each other. He lives in one town and I live in another.
Enter Aunt Felicia, the keeper of family secrets. Now, she was here to shed some much-needed light on this family's secret of years. According to her, the baby mama would always get mad whenever the paternity of Miss Robinson was brought up. Well, ain't that guilt rearing its ugly head? Moreover, she also claimed the daughter started resembling more and more like the plaintiff, which made the secret much harder to be kept.
You felt like Ms. Robinson looked different from the other children. And so you attributed that to the fact that Mr. Thompson could potentially be her biological father.
Yeah, sure.
And when you addressed your sister, she maintained that Mr. Fresneda was her child's biological father, and there was no question in her mind.
Absolutely.
Now, this was the first time the alleged baby daddy laid eyes on Miss Robinson since she grew up, and some very real concerns of his made him take this step to finally settle this paternity doubt once and for all.
How do you feel as you look at her?
I feel hurt. I also feel happy. You know, I respect Georgie. You know, we know each other. We're not strangers, you know, but I think it just had to come out, you know, and that's why we're here today.
Yes, Ms. Robinson, what would you like?
I honestly feel like if my mom didn't pass away, that this wouldn't have came out.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the DNA results. Will this 30-year-old paternity secret finally get sorted out? Or will it complicate things even more with these families? Well, the answer was in that envelope. So, let's hear it.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Thompson.
Thank you.
No, I...
Sorry.
Ms. Smith is not related to Nala Manning Smith.
Then who could it be then? Because that was the only guy I was dealing with. Then who could it be? Can I leave?
Are not the father.
There you go. I rest my case, Your Honor. Look out. I'm sorry, but hey, it's out of my hands now.
Miss Walters wanted the plaintiff to accept paternity and finally step up to the role of the father. Sounds simple enough, right? If only that were the case. Because Mr. Johnson wasn't about to fall for the baby mama's manipulation again. Or so he claimed. Oh, this drama's gonna be juicy. I can feel it.
Things were shaded from the first day when I met her. I met her back in 2015, November, and I was just out of town, just looking to have some fun. And probably three days later, we met, and we ended up sleeping together.
So how did you meet?
We met over a dating app.
Buckle up, people, because a bunch of information is coming right up. Now imagine a lunch date gone wrong, a mysterious wedding ring, and a roller coaster of romance. That pretty much sums up their situation. A swipe on the dating app, and these guys ended up in each other's arms, having the time of their lives. Their versions were different, though. No surprise there.
It was me and two of my friends, well, one of my friends, I brung over for his friend, and I had my wedding ring in my pocket, and I pulled it out and put it back on. And he was like, what is that?
Exactly.
So you met on a dating site, but you didn't have any idea she was married?
No, it still says she's single on a dating site.
Now, wait a minute. It seemed the baby mama had more than one man on her mind. Oh, yes. While having fun with the plaintiff, she was busy on the phone with another dude as well. Quite a busy bee indeed. But lo and behold, the baby daddy wasn't a saint either.
The phone rings, I'm cool, I'm chilling. Because the whole time I'm married too. See, that's what she didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I had a whole girlfriend.
And a whole girlfriend?
I'm married and got a girlfriend.
Oh.
Well, the financial transactions and the phone interactions left a lot to wonder about, that's for sure. Moving on, Miss Walters dropped the bombshell on baby daddy's head. And his response? A nonchalant congratulations. Yup. Now, the protection was on or off? That was the real question. Baby daddy believed it was. The mommy? Not so much.
She called me or whatever, and she said she was pregnant. I told her congratulations, and she was like, I'm telling you, cause it might be yours. I'm like, what? Cause I bought a box of condoms as soon as I got to the city. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying it was protected sex for you because you had already decided you were going.
I had a whole girlfriend and a wife. Why would I not use protection?
Time to examine the window of conception. The baby mama was persistent that Mr. Johnson was the only player in town during the time she conceived. Miss Walters wanted to be, so she kept him in the loop, regardless of the fact whether he was thrilled with that prospect or not. Seems about right.
About the whole situation, I never told him this is your kid or anything of that nature. I just told him to be honest because I didn't want to go 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years down the line and then be like, oh yeah, well here you go, Mr. Johnson, you got a kid by me here in Arkansas that I never told you about.
So you decided to be honest?
Yes, ma'am.
But he said it's not my child.
Moving on, it appeared the baby daddy wasn't too present during the whole journey, but he did ask for some baby pictures when she was born. You would think his heart would have melted a little. But nope, that didn't happen. He got the pictures so that he could do some comparisons on his own.
She didn't look like nobody. She was born early, so she didn't look like nobody. She looked really swollen and really wrinkly. So, I mean, I can't say that she looked like me. She didn't look like him. She didn't look like nobody. She
Y'all ain't got
like
that picture of the other dude. Know what I'm talking about?
What other dude?
The whole dude you made.
Now, baby mama was sure Mr. Johnson was her guy, and she had definite proof of that as well. Good for her, because the court runs on proof of evidence. The defendant had the other guy already tested for paternity, and yet the plaintiff wasn't falling for those results. Nuh-uh.
Probability of paternity was determined to be 0.00%.
Yes, Your Honor. I found out I was pregnant December 27th. When I went to my follow-up appointment, they put my date of conception as around December 2nd and December 5th. I was only seeing Mr. Johnson at that time.
By the looks of it, the baby daddy appeared conflicted and torn all over this paternity mess. According to Miss Walters, he had never once denied paternity in front of her. He didn't agree with that, obviously, and so the battle continued.
She said we live in 2 different states, so I reached out.
But that was after I made a long Facebook status about him not reaching out to her. If he felt like that my daughter was not his, why do you feel the need to reach out? Why do you feel the need to text me and say, oh, how's the princess? Or how y'all doing video chatting and all that if you know that this is not your kid?
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results. The sure shot way to end this paternity drama. Whether baby Caden gets to have a father after he leaves or not all depends on those answers in the envelope.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are not the father. Ms. Walters, Mr. Johnson is not Amir's biological father, so clearly there is a third guy.
Imagine encountering your ex-girlfriend a full 24 years after a painful breakup. The surprise of seeing her again would be substantial on its own, but imagine your astonishment when she introduces you to a child. Your child! Your response? Let me guess, a denial of any possibility of fathering a child all those years ago. Well, Mr. Williams was in a similar situation.
We was never in a relationship or anything. We would just hook up after a few drinks and stuff, we'd probably go back to my place or whatever was presentable. And we'd have sex and stuff, but other than that there was nothing. We were never in a relationship. That's the bottom line.
Oh my, what a responsible man. I gotta salute you for your magic trick in the courtroom. But according to the defendant, they never used protection. I mean, it's really hard to believe either of them, and it's annoying. How about we listen to some more facts? All right, Mama, it's your turn.
He knew I was in another relationship.
I never
and
knew
I
it was
did
another
come to him and told him it's a possibility that Lexi could be his. I did tell him. And then a couple of years later, I didn't see him no more. I didn't see him no more till Lexi turned what? 2 years ago, I was in the church shouting, changed my life and everything. So I don't know what he do. No, I don't.
What? Did you just hear the alleged dad? This old-timer / party buff came to know about his oh-so daughter through friends. And oh boy, you don't want to miss out on that story. So prepare yourself for a flashback.
Then we saw each other on the bus around about that time too. And she was telling me that your daughter want to talk to you or something like that there. I said, what you mean my daughter want to talk to me? Who is you talking about? I'm still trying to figure out who is she talking about. I still didn't know no name or nothing.
Okay, back to the future. However, Mr. Williams started to hear about the rumors 3 years ago, and he seemed pretty annoyed by that. But the alleged papa had it all covered until he ran into the ex-girlfriend while taking the morning bus. Probably should have Ubered that day.
I've met him on the bus and he asked me how my daughter doing. I said she's doing fine. When Lexi got back here in Orlando to move back, he came to my house to see Alexis a couple of times to my house.
One time.
More than one time,
one
twice.
time, and then me and Derek came this past December. That's twice.
Time to break the ice. Miss Alexis, whose paternity was in question, was just standing there like a puppet with tears. After ignoring her for 5 minutes, Judge Lake finally decides to ask her for the testimony. She was so still, I almost mistook her for a mannequin. Just kidding.
I was coming home from work and my mama told me that my daddy wanted to see me and talk to me. I said, okay. When I got there, he was already there. We hugged, we talked, laughed a little bit. We had dinner. Not one time did he say he wasn't my father.
Wait a minute. Why wait 21 years and conceal the father, Miss Smith? Feels like you've been doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo until your finger got stuck on poor Mr. Williams. But just like that, Miss Smith admits something that clarifies a lot of things.
I got 4 kids. I took care of all 4.
4 kids.
I'm not depending on no man. Him.
No, the daddy. There you go lying again.
I'm not lying. I figured that it was Mr. Williams on. Yes, I did.
Figured and knew.
Figured if it's Mr. Williams or somebody else.
Are there any other options, ma'am, besides Mr. Williams?
It's one more.
Miss Smith, what are you saying? This means that you had more men in your life than cards in a playing deck. And on that note, this decades-old paternity puzzle wasn't about to end. Until and unless the DNA queen pulls the lever that sprinkled some truth on everyone.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Williams, you are not the father.
There you go. I rest my case, Your Honor. Look out.
You are not the father.
Can I give her a hug?
If she will allow you.
Look out. I'm sorry.
Picture this. The baby daddy was gone. But he left behind a child whose paternity was a huge question mark. The stakes were higher than ever for Miss Manning, as she desperately wanted the mother and sister of the deceased to accept her daughter as part of their family. But those guys did not seem too convincing of this.
Miss Manning called her and told her that she was possibly pregnant with my son's child. Then I contacted Miss Manning to meet with her. I've seen Miss Manning in the past, asked him about it. He said that she was just his friend. So I wanted to know, being that my son wasn't here.
Now Mr. Naffy was out of the picture, and that fact made the paternity mess a whole lot more difficult to sort out. Yup, now hear this. Just 6 weeks after the tragic demise, this baby mama announced she was carrying his child. Wow, the daddy's family obviously didn't quite roll out the red carpet on this news. Oh dear.
I'm really hurt because this never came to my knowledge that it was any doubt that my daughter was not his child. I felt as though they should have came to me if they had any doubts. To me, my daughter looks just like her son. She even smiles like him, and it's hurting me real bad. I can't take it.
Hold on to that popcorn, folks, because this was about to get even more juicy. Apparently, the baby daddy had been quite busy in his life. Yep, and on top of that, he had not 1, but 2 women pregnant at the same time. Yeah, you heard that right. And here's more. It was the guy's sister that had real doubts over this whole scenario. Check this out.
She called me and said, well, is a possibility that I'm pregnant by your brother? And I asked her, I said, are you sure? Because my brother never mentioned anything about her being pregnant. He only mentioned about Miss Caesar being pregnant. And I had doubts because this is not her first time. She also lied and said she was pregnant before.
The baby mama wasted no second jumping to her defense. Guess she didn't like being insulted like that. Interesting approach. However, the damage was done. The one who was accepting of her pregnancy, aka the grandma, started doubting the paternity as well. Uh-oh. Bet baby mama didn't see that coming now, did she?
I have no issues with Miss Manning. Like Miss Manning said, I've been there from the beginning. From the moment she told me, I've been there, I've been supportive. But when my daughter brought the situation to me that one of Miss Manning's friends called her and told my daughter that it's possibility that numerous of guys could be Nala's father.
Continuing that train wreck, we got to know Miss Smith was the one who involved the grandma. And yep, she felt a heck of a lot of responsibility for putting her mother through that, knowing she had some serious reservations regarding the baby mama and her shenanigans. Well, it's never too late, or something like that.
I understand that the stakes are very high. Another part of your doubt stems from the fact that he was dating someone else at the time.
He wasn't staying with us. He was living with her.
And that young woman is actually here today.
Yes, and he's dating.
Ron, can you please escort Miss Caesar into the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, the baby daddy was a real two-timer, wasn't he? About time the second baby mama joined this paternity drama. But wait a minute, before you get your hopes up, the woman just ended up complicating it even more. Yup, for starters, both women didn't seem to agree on one thing. Forget being on the same page. They weren't even on the same planet for that matter.
When I found out about Mrs. Manning's pregnancy, I found out from another family member. First thing I called was Mrs. Smith to ask her, did she know? She wanted to meet with me face to face to discuss it, but she didn't know that they had that type of a relationship.
And so now you each have a daughter. You have a baby girl too.
Yeah.
In the words of the first baby mama, both were really blinded by the lies. Yep, they both got played by another baby daddy big time. No surprise there, I saw that coming a mile away. But now, he was gone, and two very real babies were in need of a family.
That night, he came to my house and he was brought a TV over there because he was supposed to play a games with my sister and her baby father. So therefore, for him to say that I was a jump off, why are you bringing your belongings to my house? Why are you being around my family? Not only that, why are you building a relationship with my little brother? Why? Why lie? Just tell the truth.
While the grandma was healing through this loss, this baby girl definitely helped her through this grief. But the clouds of paternity doubt kept hovering over her. And following that train of thought, Miss Caesar revealed that she too had heard about the rumors surrounding Miss Manning through the grapevine. Wow, the woman couldn't catch a break, could she?
It's not just me, it's just not Miss Caesar. It was multiple people. Even a close friend of hers was telling me, you know, she got around with this person, giving me a list.
Your Honor, may I speak?
I'm confused at how she's surprised about this, and this is something that was told from different people. I don't understand.
Dear Lord, the atmosphere in the courtroom was as heavy as it could be. The tension was palpable. But worry not, folks, because the moment of truth was upon us. Let's see whether the deceased really left behind a piece of himself in the shape of baby Nala, or does Miss Manning land in even more troubled waters? Here goes nothing.
This court has determined Miss Smith is not related to Nala Manning Smith.
Then who could it be then? Because I was the only guy I was dealing with. Then who could it be? Can I leave?
Just take a deep breath.
When she picked
Yes,
me up,
I did.
she came dressed in her clear hooker shoes and this.
Hooker shoe?
She's in clear shoes with money still in them.
Okay, that was for decoration.
We was having problems in our relationship because the simple fact he was not showing me any attention. He just wasn't being a man that I expected him to be.
Mr. Mason and Miss Malone have been having a lot of marital troubles because Mr. Mason caught Miss Malone in the act of cheating. Thus, paternity doubt. While the girlfriend claimed that there was no reason for denial, and the plaintiffs need DNA proof.
You were walking in the alleys, Ms. Malone?
Yes, I was sneaking around, but there was a break.
You were sneaking around doing what?
Seeing other guys. But there was a break because he wasn't showing me any attention.
We wasn't on a break at all. We wasn't on a break.
Were you all committed?
Knowledge, we was in a relationship.
Your Honor,
still.
yeah, we've been on and off for 3 years now.
This woman's got real guts. It turns out that the two started dating online, and when they met, they just knew they had to take the relationship to another level. But once they moved in together, baby mama showed Mr. Mason her true colors. He was shocked and heartbroken. According to the alleged father, he wanted to work on these issues because of how much he loved her.
I had a friend watching my front door who lived right across from where we lived at.
Oh, you had a watchdog, right?
Yes, Your Honor, every time I went to work. She blamed it on because me and her wasn't having any intimacy or anything like that.
Do you remember that confrontation, Ms. Malone?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then what did you respond?
I told him that it was my father that came to the door.
Then, a couple of months into the relationship, a friend of Mr. Mason told him that he had caught his wife sneaking around with strange men in their cars. Now, that's not very fair to the guy at the podium, but he knew he couldn't do anything until he had proper evidence. So, he decided to become a detective and launch a proper investigation.
I cheated on Mr. Mason. We was having problems in our relationship because the simple fact he was not showing me any attention. He just wasn't being a man that I expected him to be.
Okay, so let me say this. When it comes to the window of conception, when you were out with this other person, was that during the window of conception?
Yes, Your Honor, it was.
And the worst part? All of this cheating has made Mr. Mason doubt if his daughter Avery even really is his. That's why he's in court today, just so he can know for sure if he is Avery's biological father. Because after all, the defendant told the entire court that she was having relationships with multiple men while she conceived little Avery.
I overheard a conversation between her and another individual about she found the other guy on a website and how much Avery and the other guy and the other guy's child looked just alike. When I brought it to her attention, she said she didn't want me to find out like this. I was awake and I overheard everything.
Once Mr. Mason found out that his wife's pregnant, he decided to take the game into his own hands. Guess what he did? He went and told every single one of Miss Malone's family members that their daughter was pregnant and the child wasn't even his. How shocked everyone must have been to be dragged into all the drama of one shameless woman.
At first, it was two guys that popped up at our doorstep saying they were Avery's father.
What? When you say this gentleman popped up, he says there's even another gentleman that came. It just is hard for me to believe that you can say 100% certain that you believe Mr. Mason is the biological father when you're admitting that you were intimate with other people during the window.
Then, even Miss Malone's mother is brought into the courtroom to explain her side of the story. She staunchly defends her daughter and doesn't want Mr. Mason to be the father of Avery. Well, she should be scolding her shameless daughter, but that's not the case here. And the most shocking part? Miss Malone's pregnant again.
Is there a question as to the paternity of this child as well?
Your Honor, yes, I had doubt because at that time we were not together. We had broken up, and I was with this other guy.
You had moved on and you were now dating this guy.
She was having a relationship with him, but yet
cheated on
him with me.
Okay, it keeps turning into a lot of cheating anecdotes. It turns out that it's just not in Miss Malone's bones to be a loyal woman. She had a man who was willing to give her everything, but she threw that right out the window by being a very shameless person. Now, there's just the results to see who is Avery's true father.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Mason, you are not her father. When it comes to the child that Ms. Malone is currently carrying, Mr. Mason, you are the father.
This duo had been having a pretty rocky relationship over 8 years, until suddenly Kelly decided that she just wants out. According to her, the defendant had been unfaithful to her and started doubting the paternity of their kid. But who's telling the truth here? Is it Miss Hadel who's in the wrong, or is it Mr. Andrews? There's only one way to find out.
How does Mr. Andrews relate to Amarella because of his paternity doubt?
He calls his child and Amarella not in front of our children.
Really? Is that true, Mr. Andrews? That's not right.
No, it's not right. That's due to the things that she has said and done. She told me 2 different names that my child could be somebody else's child. So how can I trust that?
Kelly starts her story by saying that the two of them have been having an amazing time together for a while, but then she started to get suspicious. It turns out that baby daddy might have been sleeping around, but did she have any proof to support her statements? Whereas on the other hand, the defendant believes that the kid's not his because his wife had been the one sleeping around.
These are the reasons you believe you are not the father. You saw sexual text messages from another man. Is that correct?
Correct.
Explain.
The same person who I see was text message from is the same guy who she was having an affair with all along from the whole get-go. So when I seen that text message, my whole thought process was, it's gotta be his baby.
So, after he'd told his side of the story, everyone's pretty convinced that he's the guy who's been wronged in the relationship. No matter how much Kelly tries to pin the blame on him, the evidence against her is much stronger. Now, what does she have to say in her defense? Will she own up to her behavior, or will she make more shameless excuses?
Listen, you all have been together on and off for 8 years. He has 2 other children outside, 3 other children outside of the relationship?
During our relationship.
No.
Yes.
What kind of mess is this?
She's lying.
Right.
She's lying. She's lying.
You're gonna get the side eye now.
Even Judge Lauren is pretty shocked by all of this chaos. She asks the courtroom in great shock what kind of relationship this is. Kelly keeps going behind Maurice's back, and when Judge Lauren confronts her, she smiles and says she did it for her comfort. Absolutely shameless. This woman just won't stop.
Did you tell him that there were 2 other potential fathers. Did you say
no,
that?
Honor, this is what I said, and I'm going to let you know what happened. He was saying this person and this person is her daddy. I said, okay.
Because you was having affairs with both of them.
Then,
no,
I was
both
not.
guys.
Either way, so I just agreed with him because that's what he wanted to hear. So I said, okay.
On top of that, Kelly dared to tell Maurice to his face that she thinks their kid might have been conceived because of someone else. But it doesn't stop there. She ends up talking about how there are 2 more potential fathers. It leaves Maurice pretty heartbroken, but he decides that this selfish woman doesn't deserve anything from him.
You all sound like you like 16 years old.
Trust me, I know.
Arguing back and forth, and you got these little beautiful children. And from what I'm saying, I don't even know how you have time to make babies because you don't stop talking. If you're doing this in here, I can only imagine what you're doing at home.
Well, it seems like there's only one way to settle this matter. Kelly claims that Maurice is the father of their kid, even though she'd been cheating on him with multiple people. Meanwhile, Maurice has had enough, and all he wants is proof that he's not the father. With that, it's time to skip to the big revelation and lay the matter to rest for good.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Andrews, you are the father.
Scotty and Tiffany have been fighting for a long time, and the fight has been about the paternity of their beautiful little daughter, Zaylee. Baby Daddy believes that he's the one who's Zaylee's actual father, but Tiffany refuses to let the defendant spend time with the little girl, all because she really hates Scotty.
Your Honor, I believe it's just out of pure hatred. She just doesn't want me to have visitation. I drive 160 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off.
You say she hates you?
She hates.
Why does she hate you?
She hates me because at the end of the relationship, when things got rocky, I'll admit it, I did go to another woman. I'll be the first to admit that. You know, it was my mistake.
So it turns out that the reason the plaintiff really hates Scotty is that because when they were together, ex-boyfriend cheated on her multiple times. Even he admits it in front of everyone. Well, at least he owns up to his mistakes. So why does Tiffany take it out on their daughter? That's not fair to the little girl.
You pay $50 a week.
Just under $50 a week.
And that's not very much to get what she needs.
Is it enough to buy her clothes so she doesn't have to wear cut-off sweatpants and the same t-shirt every time I pick her up?
I do that because
Is it enough money to buy her underwear so you don't got to keep putting her in diapers at 4 years old?
I have underwear for her.
Scotty's been trying everything to be close to his daughter. He's the one who drives from one state to another to come spend time with her, and he's even paying for Zaylee's child support. Even Judge Lauren is shocked why Mommy doesn't let him spend time with the little girl.
I believed I was, and still believe, I was the only biological father. We were at family court talking to the family court commissioner about custody and the things that go along with that, like where she'd be going to school, her doctor, and all that. And Ms. Miller brings it up that I could possibly not be the father because of another man that was involved.
But Tiffany has her math to add here. According to her, she kept a check of all her dates, and they say that when Zaylee was conceived, she wasn't sleeping with the guy at the podium. She had been intimate with someone else, and by her logic, it is impossible at all that Zaylee is Scotty's daughter. Well, that sure confuses me more than it clears things up.
What was the problem exactly? You let him sign the birth certificate?
Because we were engaged. I thought we were going to have a happy life and raise our daughter together until about 3 months after she was born. One of his friends told me everything that he was doing throughout our entire relationship, cheating on me, going to multiple places to meet multiple girls.
So, after all the back and forth, it's still pretty unclear what exactly is Tiffany's problem with Scotty. Here's a man who's willing to do everything for his daughter, even provide for her and drive so many miles just to see her and take care of her. Yet Zaylee's mother insists that he's not the father. Then, who really is the father here?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father. Miss Miller, that's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve.
Your heart will undoubtedly ache to watch Mr. Matthew Threlkeld. And if you ask why, well, it has to do with the way his wife treated him. Let's start with this question. what was Matthew's wife doing at home while he was out serving his country? Sleeping with 20 men.
He hacked my Facebook. He invaded my privacy, and he looked into my stuff. But
Actually, ma'am, see, she's gonna.
No.
That's already a lie. I see. Oh, baby, I can't wait to see you later on tonight. I had a great time with you. I can't wait to see, the last few days we spent together. It's been amazing.
These are the messages
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
seeing
Yes,
that
ma'am.
your wife is entertaining while you're serving your country.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is why the plaintiff is here in court to present a case against his wife, Brittany, to Judge Lauren. Most importantly, he wants to confirm if his 18-month-old daughter, Liliana, is even his. After all, it's his right to suspect the girl's paternity after what his wife did behind his back.
Ms. Threlkeld, what? Your husband's overseas, serving his country, serving our country, keeping us all safe. What in the world led you to entertain these type of messages on your Facebook, and you've admitted that you had a few indiscretions? What is going on?
Damn, this mommy has absolutely no shame. How could she ever cheat on her loyal husband like that? Even Judge Lauren is pretty shocked. The biggest shocker? Brittany lies that Matthew promised to divorce her. He was even going to send her divorce papers. It seems like she's coming up with all kinds of lies to excuse her shameless behavior.
When the day I was supposed to come back home from overseas, we were told before we even got on the plane that there's going to be the color guard, the motorcycles that drive, in front. The news was going to be there. I get there, and not my father, my mother, my wife, like I said, we'll quote that, weren't even there. We get there, they call everybody's names up, everybody's clapping and cheering. They come to my name, and it's just dead quiet. No one was there.
But the worst thing that the defendant did was when Matthew came back from Afghanistan and she came to pick him up in skimpy clothes, she was dressed, to simply say, as a hooker who had money falling out of her dress pockets. Now, that puts poor potential fathers in a difficult position.
Even though you've had this conversation that you're done while you were overseas, you come back and you have in your mind, maybe if I could get her to stop stripping, we could maybe make it work. I get her pregnant, she can stay off the pole and stay in the house.
Yes, ma'am.
That's in your mind.
So, now Brittany and Matthew have 3 kids, and because of all the stuff that she's done behind his back, Matthew highly doubts that the last kid belongs to him. Because of that, he had to make the difficult decision to opt for a paternity test just so he could reveal the truth.
In the case of Threlkeld versus Threlkeld pertaining to 1-year-old Liliana, Mr. Threlkeld, you are Liliana's father.
Things get crazy on paternity court.
I feel like, would I have to be on my deathbed to find out, if he's not my dad? That's not fair to me.
I understand and I respect your decision and your petition and all that paper that you got in front of you, but to me, it doesn't mean anything.
Miss Johnson and Miss Davis attend court to determine if Mr. Johnson is their biological father. At their mother's funeral, a different man claimed to be their father. Mr. Johnson ruthlessly admits to having paternity doubts, but wishes to clarify 25 years of questions. Another man outside the courtroom also suspects Mr. Johnson could be his father.
Ms. Johnson and Mrs. Davis, you are here in court today to finally find out if the defendant is your biological father. You both claim at your mother's funeral a different man approached you and announced he instead is your father.
Mr. Johnson was asked if he had knowledge of their mother being unfaithful, or if someone else could be the father of Miss Johnson and Miss Davis. Mr. Johnson confirmed he had suspicions as she told him directly about her unhappiness and her connections with other men while he was working.
Did you ever hear anything about their mother cheating, that someone else could be the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you hear specifically?
Actually, she actually told me.
She did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did she say?
She would tell me, I'm unhappy. You're not spending the time with me. She would go off and be with these other guys.
Mr. Johnson affirmed that he raised Miss Johnson and Miss Davis on his own. Even though he had doubts about being their biological father, he stepped up to the responsibility. He mentioned that their mother had told them another man was their father, but he was there when they were born and during the 9 months of pregnancy.
Mr. Johnson, you raised these children on your own.
Yes, Your Honor.
But in this courtroom, You've been honest and said you had doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
And yet you raised these girls as your own,
Yes, Your Honor.
accepted this responsibility.
Yes, Your Honor. The mother, even though the mother told him that other man was the father.
Mr. Johnson revealed that he offered money to the girls' mother in hopes of encouraging a mother-daughter connection between them. He stressed the importance of his daughters understanding the dynamics of their family, noting his son had witnessed it firsthand.
You're saying when you had the girls, you wanted the girls to see her
Yes, Your Honor.
and spend time with her so they could have a mother-daughter
Yes, Your Honor.
connection.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you would have to say to her, I'll give you money
Yes, Your Honor.
if you spend time with them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh.
The individual is discussing his sisters and the doubts surrounding their paternity. He notes that he can see his father in his middle sister, Miss Johnson, but not as much in Miss Davis. He becomes emotional while speaking, and Judge Lake comforts him, indicating the sensitivity of the topic. Did the DNA result make him feel any better?
Mr. Johnson, Sr., you are her father. Mr. Johnson, Sr., you are her father.
Miss Robinson's life was shaken hard when she discovered that another man, Mr. Thompson, claimed her paternity. Confused with his situation, she came to court with the man whom she believed was her father, and now she badly needed answers today.
Mr. Thompson, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Fresneda, to court to prove that you, not he, fathered Miss Jasmine Robinson. You've never met Ms. Robinson, but say today you'll prove she's yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Fresneda, you were married to Ms. Robinson's mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Thompson quickly stated that when Mr. Fresneda was away, her mother was sleeping with him, and they quit their thing when Sonia got pregnant. But his family members insisted that he resembled Miss Robinson. Upon this, the judge asked Miss Robinson about her upbringing.
He never treated me no different, so I would never suspect it.
Now, he says he heard things from your family members. You've never heard those murmurings, whispers through the grapevine?
Nobody never told me anything. They just left me in the dark. Nobody said nothing to me about it.
I have to say that learning about your paternity doubt at 29 years old is not a good thing. And taking this much time, the plaintiff shared that after her mother's death, it was her choice that Mr. Fresneda would raise her daughter. Then, Miss Robinson shared how she discovered her potential father.
He had messaged me on Facebook, the first message, and was like, hey, tell your mom that I said hi. But I just brushed it off. I'm like, my mom has her own Facebook page. It's just somebody that she knows. So I just left it alone. Didn't say anything about it. And then 5 years later, in 2015, he had reached out to me again.
For sure, she would have never taken it seriously, and it could have been a pathetic joke. But this wasn't a joke, as Miss Robinson shared it with her aunt, and to her shock, she was informed of the same story. And further, she even asked her dad about it.
I had told him, I said, Dad, there's this guy named Ladner Thompson that had reached out to me on Facebook and saying that he's my dad. And my dad was like, what's his name again? And then I said Ladner Thompson. And then he had said kind of the same story that my Aunt Felicia told me. He said that years ago, he had came around saying that he was my dad, but my mom was saying no.
It seemed now Mr. Thompson's claim had some potential. But even if he believed he was the real father, he would see the mother-daughter in the town they lived in, but never tried for a DNA test. Now, it was time to know Mr. Fresneda's point of view in this story.
I asked her mother, like he says, on more than one occasion, and she always said to me that Jasmine was my firstborn. And that was good enough for me, Your Honor. We went on and had 4 more children after that, and they all belong to me. Point I'm trying to make in here, Your Honor, that I wish that he would have addressed me before he sent her.
So, both the men knew about each other. That's interesting. But even if they knew that something was wrong behind the curtains, it should have been addressed timely. And that's exactly what Miss Robinson argued about it, because she was hurt by this situation.
And I feel betrayed, like nobody told me nothing. And my family members that did know about it never stepped up about it, even after my mom passed away. I felt like, would I have to be on my deathbed to find out, like, if he's not my dad? That's not fair to me.
I have compassion for you because I've lost my mother as well, and I know what it feels like to be a young woman in the world without your mother.
Ugh, I feel her pain. Her whole life has become a lie now, and it wasn't easy for her to accept it. As much as it was hard for her to understand, the judge brought in her aunt to testify, and she agreed to Mr. Thompson's claim very quickly.
If we brought it to her attention, she always said that Ladden was not Jasmine's father.
So why were you bringing it to her attention?
Because as Jasmine was growing up, as the aunt, started seeing a little difference in the children.
You did?
I did.
Now, all the arrows were pointing in Mr. Thompson's direction. Then, the plaintiff asserted that it was important for him that all of his kids and grandchildren should have a bond with one another, and shared that his kids were friends with Miss Robinson, to which she agreed.
I know them from being around them, and one of the sisters, I worked with her. We worked together.
And so you were working with this young woman without knowing that she potentially could be your sister?
Yes.
I can contest that we're all confused. And that's why we're here today, to find out the truth.
To me, she's my child, and she's always gonna be my child.
Now, with all the testimonies, we pretty much knew where this would go. But still, the real father's name was sealed in that envelope. And to get this truth out, finally, the judge was ready to read the results.
Mr. Thompson, you are her father.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you. Don't worry. That's my heart. That's my number one. I understand and I respect your decision and your petition and all that paper that you got in front of you. But to me, it doesn't mean nothing.
Second timers were in the court. Miss Wilson claimed her ex-husband was busy playing house with a new girlfriend while he denied their firstborn. However, Mr. Wilson and the girlfriend denied this obviously, but also used color adjectives for the plaintiff.
Mrs. Wilson, you are back in my courtroom. Your soon-to-be ex-husband is now denying your firstborn daughter, Peyton, and you and your children in order to play house with his new little girlfriend and baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Baby was clearly furious with the defendant, and she made the defendant know how she felt too. Apparently, she'd been raising all the 3 kids alone by herself. And that was not right. Not at all.
Mr. Wilson, you don't believe you're Peyton's biological father.
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
and I have
whenever
reasons,
he
Your Honor.
does see them, though, I have to provide everything. I have to call him to beg him to see them, which I shouldn't have to do.
She's
That's
never
not my
called to
job.
beg him to see anybody. Never once.
The defendant claimed that baby mama's ex had fathered Peyton, and he was pretty confident about this. According to him, Miss Wilson had not been too committed to their relationship, and he had instances to back up his claim as well.
She cheated on me with this guy multiple times. Multiple times. And
that's a lie, Your Honor. I cheated one time, and it really wasn't even cheating because we were not together. And I did get a hickey, and I'm going to admit it. And I did lie about it.
no, your excuse was the dog jumped off the bed and hit your neck. How does that happen? You know what I'm saying?
Trust was completely lost between these guys. Yep, the baby mama just couldn't understand why this guy was doing this. His doubts appeared meaningless to her, but doubts are doubts. Moreover, the start to their relationship wasn't too great either.
I left my ex to be with him. So, I mean, it was 2 weeks before
She just admitted that
me
she
and
left
him
this
got
guy
together.
for me.
Well, what it's saying to me is she slept with 2 guys in the window of conception.
No, we got together in November. You tell me how the heck I can be pregnant for a year, and that's what he's trying to say.
Time for the exhibit presented by Mr. Wilson. It was a text exchange between baby mama and the other potential baby daddy, as claimed by Mr. Wilson. Miss Haley denied it outright, stating it wasn't her who texted this. Interesting response.
She states that he looks just like you. Look at her feet, her eyes, her ears. She's sent pictures of Peyton to this man, and right away, right off the rip, he said, she's not mine. He denied her from the beginning. She said, do you want to get a DNA test? He said no. If she was 100% sure that I was the father, why would she be texting another man talking about my alleged daughter looks like him?
DNA or no DNA, baby daddy did feel about little Peyton. There was a bond between them. But even that didn't propel him to actively participate in her life. The girlfriend was too eager to justify that, but that wasn't enough. And Judge Lake blew up at these guys.
And this is very real because at the end of the day, you're learning the lessons that those of us who have children, and we know this each and every day, these children gotta eat. They need clothing, they need shelter, they need care, they need an education. I don't know if Peyton's your biological child or not. We're gonna find that out today, but what we do already know is y'all need to stop making babies.
Oh, these people definitely needed to grow up themselves before taking responsibilities for growing babies of their own. The fate of little Peyton was at stake, and like every other child, she deserved to have a father in her life. Let's see if she gets to have one today.
Mr. Wilson, you are the father.
Thank you.
You are her father.
Now step up, please.
You got to grow up before you can step up.
The plaintiff brought the baby mama to court after she ended up tilting his world right off its axis. In the electrifying world of paternity disputes, we have Mr. Lloyd and Miss Rayleigh, all ready to fight out this paternity battle.
Mr. Lloyd, you are in court today to prove that you are the biological father of the defendant's 1.5-year-old daughter, Courtney Marie Grimes. You claim the defendant led you to believe that you were the father only to have a bomb dropped on you that another man was her dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
A love triangle that would even make our dear Shakespeare blush. Baby mommy, the mastermind it seemed, was phenomenal at juggling. Her objects of choice, though, were rather peculiar. And so, the drama begins.
I had just recently got out of a relationship when I had met Mr. Lloyd. Of course, I was ending my last relationship with the other party.
All right, so then you had finished the other relationship, or you were still kind of seeing this other guy?
We had just ended. It wasn't even a month apart or a week apart that me and him had ended.
Ah, the doubts and reservations. The beautiful aspect of every relationship. Dear God. So the defendant dropped the bomb on the baby daddy, claiming he might not be the dad. Ouch, that sure must have hurt. Her alibi, though? The Super Bowl. And so, the guessing game began.
I was ending my last relationship with the other party.
All right, so then you had finished the other relationship, or you were still kind of seeing this other guy?
We had just ended. It wasn't even a month apart or a week apart that me and him had ended. And we had started getting intimate right there.
So how did the baby mama end up pregnant? It's like a reality TV plotline. Baby daddy's excitement, though, soon turned to confusion with a capital C. After the big revelation, he left, but still, the defendant had someone at the hospital with her. And don't forget the baby named Crisis as well. That was interesting, and one for the ages.
When you told him he was the father, he accepted he was the father, but you say that this window between Mr. Grimes and Mr. Lloyd is only a span of 2 to 3 weeks anyway, right?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Or 4. Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks.
I didn't even know the baby got born. I had to find out on Facebook.
The window of conception becomes a blurry mess. No surprise there. Was it Mr. Lloyd or Mr. Grimes? Nobody knew for sure. And so the baby daddies took the matter into their own hands. And like a suspenseful movie full of twists, they did a sting operation.
I was trying to find out because she was still playing that it was my baby, still playing his baby. So we met up.
Actually,
we drove
they
up
pulled up on me. I said, okay, so both of them asked me in the car together. They in the car together. I'm with another friend who's the daddy, Chantel. So I said, okay, Curtis, you're the sperm donor, and Mr. Lloyd is the one who'll be there for her.
The drama escalated as the other baby daddy, Mr. Grimes, shared his version of the events. Desperation was the name of the game here, people. And the tension? So thick. Now the second baby daddy had doubts as well. Apparently, the baby looked like the both of them. Oh, yeah.
Since Shantia been pregnant, she been playing both sides. 1 minute Corey the daddy, next minute I'm the daddy. Corey about to spend some money on the baby, he the daddy. Like, we both still seeing her to this day, you know? So
you both still seeing her?
We both still seeing Courtney. He been to Memphis more than me. I've been to Memphis 1 time. He been down there 3-4 times.
So neither of the baby daddies was supporting baby Courtney. Did you find that surprising? Because I sure didn't. However, the plaintiff was ready to support the baby. On the other hand, you would be surely surprised to know how many kids Mr. Grimes was supporting at the mere age of 23. Dear God! In the heat of the moment, baby mama ended up saying something ignorant. Yikes!
She has your last name. Have you been helping to support Courtney since she's been born?
I'm gonna tell you like I told Shantia. I told Shantia when Corey, Mr. Lloyd got out of her life, I told her give me blood, I give her baby love, basically. I'm tired of her playing both sides. I got 6 other kids that I gotta worry about. She's not finna keep playing with this kid. 8. If Courtney minds, Courtney makes 7.
These guys were just playing the age-old blame game. Miss Riley broke down and poured her heart out. Yes, girl, let it all out in the court. And while she did that, Mr. Grimes had the nerve to interject. Come on, man.
I never told him that he wasn't the father. To hear him say this in court today, he would never, ever speak to me again unless it's about our children. And that's it. It's no more going back and forth, because I have been going back and forth with these two for too long, and it's time for it to end. Either I'm gonna be one of them or neither one of them.
The moment we've all been waiting for. These guys were on the edge of their seats. All eyes were on the envelope. Is it Mr. Lloyd or Mr. Grimes? We're about to find out. Let's take a look at what Destiny planned for the baby.
The biological father is Mr. Lloyd.
I knew it from the start. You done, bro.
Calm down, because the truth is, it's not done. Because you might have another baby. You potentially impregnated the same girl again. Her mother says what to you?
She said, that is your daughter that followed me in, and I don't want you telling her anything until I pass away.
You called both of them dad?
I did, yes, Your Honor. I didn't know just how to take this. I just felt like this should have been done, by the adults in my life.
Mrs. Garcia and Mr. Johnson were lifelong friends for over 2 decades. But guess what? The man had been keeping a secret from her for all these years. A secret that could rock their friendship to its core. And it did, as he claimed he was her real father. A roller coaster of emotions coming right up, people.
I've always wanted to have a father. My father was very abusive, and I watched my mother go through a second marriage with the same type of abuse. So I've always felt close to Rusty, and I never knew why. I never could understand this feeling, that was always there with him. So today, if it's true, I want to know it.
Who knew a night visit in Lake Isabel would turn out to be a night to remember? That is exactly what happened between the baby mama and the alleged baby daddy. The defendant took care of a stranger he found in a vulnerable situation, but he ended up taking care of her a lot more. Oh yeah!
I picked her up and put her in the truck and cleaned her up, and she said, I can't go home until I know that he's in bed passed out.
And what happens?
Well, got to talking, one thing led to another, and sex was involved.
And that was the last time you heard from her for 28 years?
Right.
Well, after that one night, it was a total no-show for 28 years. Yeah, you heard that right. But fear not, mates, as fate was once again on their side. And these people ended up meeting again. Though Miss Garcia instantly felt a connection to him, which only now made sense to her. But by then, vows were already made to keep secrets hidden.
Her mother says what to you?
She said, that is your daughter that followed me in, and I don't want you telling her anything until I pass away.
How do you get to the point where you decide, I'm no longer going to keep this secret?
I asked her to sit down and I want to talk to her, and I explained everything.
Now, they kept the secret for all these years, but then the baby mama passed away. So the baby daddy wasn't bound by that vow anymore. And guess what he did? Yep, he dropped the bombshell. Moreover, he even included the supposed daughter in his will. I mean, what? And that was precisely the reaction of his family as well.
Your family is not completely pleased that you've included Ms. Garcia in your will. Is that correct?
Right.
And Ms. Garcia, your sister, doubts that Mr. Johnston is in fact your father.
Yes, she does. I was under the assumption that my mother told him right before she died, which was in 2009. I just found out today.
With bated breath, the moment of truth was upon them. The years of secrecy were finally over, and real answers were about to be delivered. Was keeping that secret worth it or not? We are about to find out.
When it comes to Cindy Lee Garcia, Mr. Johnston, you are not her father.
This young lady is very important to me. I love her. She is my child. And as far as anything goes on my part, if she needs me, I'm there.
While Miss Sheets had spent her whole life believing 2 possible men had the potential of being her father, the defendant, on the other hand, just got wind of this news pretty recently. Talk about the shock of a lifetime, right? And now these guys were here to get to the bottom of this paternity mess.
I've been with her since she was born, 35 years, and embedded in my heart.
So it is up to the court whether or not there is sufficient evidence to order a paternity test. Why do you need the court to grant this test?
I know Mr. Rhodes as my father initially, but after the breakup of my parents, she introduced me to Mr. Smith.
Now, the plaintiff spent her whole life playing the "Who is my daddy" game between these two guys. It's like a sitcom where everyone's the dad and no one's the dad, but all was happening in the same episode. And even having the two possibilities, the birth certificate still had no father listed. Nada!
Now, you submitted to the court a copy of your birth certificate, your name listed under the child's name, and under father's name, there's no one listed.
Right, I never was giving just a clear definition of, hey, this is your father, this is not. I was told both were at one time, and I was told, at one time one wasn't and one was.
Cue the emotions, people, because we were moving on to the devastation of the father. For 30 plus years, this man believed she was his daughter. And then, bam! The said daughter demanded a paternity test. Well, his world got truly rocked, and why wouldn't it, since all that popping in and out of the life of baby mama caught up to him now?
Someone wanted a paternity test because they thought you weren't their biological father, and that person was the young woman you believed to be your daughter.
Yes, Shauna, I did.
What did you feel like when you got that call?
I'm confident and I know this is my daughter. It's very confusing, but the natural feeling that I have is this is my daughter and can't nobody tell me nothing else.
Well, since the baby daddy never questioned paternity till now, he stood up to his fatherly duties, all thanks to Grandma. But you wouldn't believe it when I said that the other potential baby daddy stepped up too. Yeah, no kidding. Talk about the confusion of a lifetime, right?
I remember her looking at me like, who are you? And I didn't really pay no attention, but I felt it, that she was confused. But I said, no, from my grandmother telling me this is my child, I've embedded in me, I'm gonna love this child and take care of the best I can, regardless of what's going on. Because one day when she's grown, I'll be able to tell the story and let her know that I loved her since birth.
If you thought that was the end of the confusing mess, you are so mistaken, my friends, because Miss Sheets just delivered more. It seemed both guys visited her on and off, and she referred to both of them as Dad. Seriously, woman? Now, add a dash of teenage confusion and ding ding ding, you've got a recipe for a tangled web of paternity uncertainty.
You called both of them Dad?
I did, yes, Your Honor. I didn't know, hey, about DNA tests. I didn't know, I just felt like this should have been done, by the adults in my life. I just can't let this go on any longer. I have to know.
4 years old, you don't know anything. But when you get 13 or you get in school and everybody's got one dad.
Yes.
By the looks of it, the baby daddy did know that other players were in the game as well, but his focus was still on the baby mommy. So much so he came back from serving and had plans to marry the woman. But in a twist of fate, mommy had made other plans by then. Furthermore, when the daughter demanded some answers from the mother, there was none. And the conception window didn't help either.
Did you ever ask your mom?
She just kind of didn't give me a straight answer. I never got a straight answer. I tried to get one. All three of us sat down together.
Really?
Yes, and they tried to calculate conception, and they just couldn't quite get it together. But my question was, why did he pay child support my entire life until I was 18?
Let's stir up the confusion, Gravy, even more, shall we? Because we were on this train and we have to see it through. Unfortunately, the other baby daddy had also passed away. His son was there to shed some light on this mess. Well, he knew the plaintiff for a decade, and his father told him the truth at one point as well. Wow!
I actually went to her house a couple of times and we talked, and through life we lost contact. And after that, I sat down with my dad and I asked him seriously, is this my sister? And, he was the kind of guy who, he joked around, he was very animated, but he very firmly and strongly looked me in the eyes and said, yeah, I believe that this is your sister, my daughter.
Moving on, we got to see poor Mr. Garcia trying desperately to make sense of this chaotic paternity mess. It was clear he wanted to be a father to the plaintiff, but the presence of the other guy made it difficult as heck. So much so, he could have faced jail time. Ouch!
And I always knew a black cloud was over my head with her because I said, this is my daughter. Why can't I go get her and take her to Chicago and raise her? You know, I would come to town to see her, everybody looking at me strange. They would never let me take her to go to the store to get her school clothes. They told me, no, go get them and bring them back. I was never able to spend time with her because I'm nothing. He had his name on her.
Judge Lake ended up granted the paternity test. Well, frankly, the whole confusion was screaming for it. It was finally time to wrap up this 3-decade mystery and sort out the paternity mess for once and all. Here we go!
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Rhodes.
Really? Oh my God.
I hear you saying, Miss Sheets, you so happy. It's good to see you smile. I don't think I saw you smile last time we saw you.
A long-lost father was finally ready to step up to the role of fatherhood. However, it was too late now, according to Miss Washington. Mr. Alexander decided to reconnect after 29 long years. But the daughter wasn't having it. The baby daddy took his sweet time taking this decision.
So, how did it feel when you finally heard this young woman's voice?
I felt real good, because I had my daughter search for it and went on Facebook to find it, and I was so happy that I finally got in touch with my daughter.
So, Miss Washington, I see the tears in your eyes, honey.
He contacted me at 29. Like, you missed out. If I was, you would have been there, not at 29.
Miss Washington recounted the day she first heard of Mr. Alexander in like ever, and it wasn't the Hallmark reunion the guy was hoping for. Oh no, it was a 29-year late phone call. But what was even more frustrating was that the guy just popped in, dropped this bomb, and then went MIA again. Yeah, the nerve of this man.
One night my phone rang. He's like, I'm looking for Tish. And I'm like, who is this? And he's like, I'm your dad. I told him I never heard of him before. He mentioned my granddaddy and my grandma, but I'm 29. Where have you been? My mom passed. He wasn't there. My granddaddy, my grandma passed. He wasn't there. And then he got to talking to me and I'm like, but where have you been? I'm 29.
Now, the defendant had no clue about this baby daddy. But wait, she had known another was a possible candidate when she was 18. And she took it upon herself to get to the bottom of this paternity issue then, and went to meet the said guy, but only to receive disappointment and hurt in the end.
She was telling me the whole time that that was my father, and he wanted to meet up. I had to catch the city bus to go meet him. We sat down, and he was like, he didn't know, but he had a wife and kids already, and he didn't want to mess that up. So I was like, I'm ready to go, and I never saw him or talked to him again.
Shedding some light on how these guys met initially, Mr. Alexander brought along a witness. And the said witness played matchmaker way back in 1976. And James, aka Mr. Alexander, ended up in the same social brew with Miss Gladys. However, the baby mama soon pulled a no-show afterwards, and so the mess began.
James had left me and went somewhere else. He didn't work at my new location, okay? So the next time I hear James, he's all proud. He said, man, have you seen Gladys? I said, no, I haven't. He said, I got a baby by her. So he was excited and happy, but hurt that he couldn't find her.
But it is your testimony that he was looking for his little girl.
He was.
Oh, ma'am.
He talked about her.
Oh, ma'am.
He talked about this young lady here.
Dear Lord, the woman couldn't catch a break. Miss Washington had no father growing up. Then she lost her mother. If that wasn't enough, she got terminally ill, and at this point, she was in desperate need of a family. But the said baby daddy was heck of a lot difficult to get a hold of.
When I was going through cancer, I didn't have nobody. My mom not here, but then I was trying to get in contact with him because I needed a donor for my transplant, and he wasn't nowhere to be found because we was like on and off with, contacting each other.
Okay.
And so for me to contact him, I have to go through his one daughter in Alabama. She used to call me asking me if I know where he was. I'm like, no.
Moving on, the defendant gets in contact with Mr. Alexander, and they get a DNA test done on their own. But the laboratory ended up mixing it up and made them wait 3 weeks instead of 3 days. Wow, the lady luck was surely not in their favor.
In 2 to 3 days, they'll let us know. 3 weeks went by.
You had to call her back?
Yes.
And then she says, I'm sorry, he's not your father.
Yes.
Do you remember her telling you that they called back and the lab said that you were not her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor, I remember that. And we both felt that it was undecided decision that they made on their behalf because it just didn't seem right.
As the courtroom drama unfolds further, we get to know that the defendant's transplant might hinder the DNA results being conclusive. But leave it to the judge to get a professional opinion about it. And so, Dr. Michael Bard, the DNA expert, took the stand and dropped a bombshell about the bone marrow transplant. And that led to the defendant being way too honest.
What are you hoping for, Mr. Alexander? And are you hoping that Miss Washington is your biological daughter? Are some of the tears because you feel guilty for all the years that you missed out on?
Yes, to a certain extent, it is that, Your Honor. I'm feeling
Do you
guilty.
feel like you let her down?
Yes, I do, Your Honor, to a certain extent.
I don't want him to be now.
It was time to untangle this decades-old paternity saga and reach the final chapter of it. That being the DNA results. The potential daddy-daughter duo were certainly hoping for different outcomes. Let's see which way the dice rolls.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Alexander, you are not the father. Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.